this thing, I'll go crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Shortbox, Season 6. Yeah.
I like how you were like, no pause whatsoever, no hesitation from us. Like
You didn't even answer if we wanted to hear the story.
Can I tell you guys a gross story?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you guys a gross story.
It's like,
You know how they have the recliner seats?
Period blood. What?
oh,
Hey, I win.
So I'm laying in the recliner seat, and there's like a big line of family. I'm on the very last one, so I'm sitting next to a stranger. So she puts up her recliner seat, so her toes are just high up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Were
Off
they janky
the ground.
toes?
like bare feet.
So
Take her
they were
shoes
in
off?
little tiny sandals,
Okay.
and she kept cracking her toes, all 10 of them. She would just
Oh my
go
god.
How
and
old was she?
crack. Maybe 40. Not that old.
Yeah, that's not old.
Crack all 10 She wasn't that old. Every 10 minutes,
I don't
the same
appreciate
thing.
that.
It's not old.
Just
No.
lifting her foot up and just cracking both sets of toes.
Ew. During the Lion
The
King?
entire I would be like finally enjoying a song, and then I would just hear it, and I would just look over at her. It was so terrible.
You're sitting here watching a movie.
Every single toe cracked every time she did it.
Gonna be a mighty king. Crack.
I won't lie to you. I crack my toes all the time. So
Yeah, but in
movie
the theater next to a stranger?
No,
strangers'
no,
faces
not at all.
while the
Not at all.
Lion King is playing.
I don't know, but I'm not gonna let you disrespect my mom in front of me.
Was it Potter's mom?
Tell the truth. Yo,
don't like
perfect jumping on
This is
No! Phrasing.
primo
crazy.
content. Yo, content kings over here.
Content.
This is going to be an extra bonus.
This is gross.
Nah, man, come on.
This is a perverted jizzy dick.
Look, no better time than ever, right? Short box nation.
Wow, what a start.
Butter.
Yo, we're talking about the boys today. I feel like that's
That
like
is true.
we're like,
We
we got
can
the
just be
theme
vulgar.
going, right? We got the
be
theme
vulgar.
going.
Yeah.
Shortbox Nation, welcome to episode 258. For those joining us for the first time, I'm your host, Bader Milligan. I'm joined by my good friends and a full cast of Shortbox co-hosts. I got my right-hand man, Cesar Cordero.
I'm sorry, Mom.
Edmund Danzart's here with us.
Yo.
And Ashley Lanny Hoy.
Hey.
Shortbox Nation, we've got a special episode for you guys today. We're going to be covering our Shortbox story segment, so we got a few highlights, newsworthy items that we want to touch on, and we'll definitely be talking about the boys. Has anyone else gotten like multiple messages from whether Shortbox Nation or friends, family about the boys? I've been getting a lot of messages asking like, yo,
Yeah.
when are you guys going to cover the boys?
Well, I've gotten a lot of people at work asking because they've seen my desk has like, you know, like little Batman black and white minis and like a Funko of Freddie Mercury, and they're like, this guy's gay. So let me ask him about.
Oh, man.
I work at a very, very. Hey, what up, bro? Like one of those kind of things. They were like, "Hey, have you seen the boys?" And I'm just like, "Okay, are you looking for an opportunity to make fun
Oh,
of
that's
me?
an opening for...
Or
yeah.
are you genuinely asking me?" So yeah, but they were genuinely asking. So there was some a lot of that going on. So I was like, all right, well, maybe there's something to this show. So
Ashley, was this the show that you watched with your mother-in-law or mom? I know you always watch like these superhero shows with
graphic shit.
Yeah.
Fun for the whole family.
I work either like by myself or with a bunch of like 20-year-old girls. So like I went to the comic shop and I was like, "Hey, who's seen the boys?" I was like asking everybody. I just wanted to talk about it. Like nobody in my general vicinity had seen it. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Oh.
Actually, I imagine when you say with 20-year-old girls that they're all fictitious people that live in your head.
Oh, God.
Like if we were to look at this, like it would just be like, "So have you seen the boys?" And then just quiet.
So wait, is the story that we're going with when it comes to Ashley is that she doesn't have
man.
normal friends, but she's got celebrity friends? Is that
It's all
it?
the ghosts of people she's killed.
Holy
She's just,
crap.
like, haunted.
Oh God.
You are very. This is a very complex. Like, are you a boys character?
I was gonna say she's like Nick from Big Mouth that just talks to Duke Ellington.
Damn. What about you, Ed? Have you gotten? You're kind of like our boys correspondent on the show.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Well, a couple people from work actually, because we talked about it a little bit, just mentioning it on the podcast, and he said he heard it, and that's how we got interested in seeing it. And then my friend Heather and she's read the whole thing as well, so we're basically watching it and going back and forth like every episode, like comparing notes and stuff like that and what they've changed. So it's, and then on the Instagram we've been getting some messages about doing
I was
it.
real surprised that my sister was watching it.
Really?
Like I'm trying to figure out where all these non kind of
they've been promoting it a lot though.
is that it?
It's not that. It's very approachable. Like, it's very, very.
And Amazon Prime
show.
is really putting it out there too.
Yeah,
like on social media. When you go to Amazon, it's like a little banner at the top. Watch the boys now.
Yeah.
So they're
plugging it like
plugging
a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, the what is the showrunner Eric
Kripke of Supernatural fame.
Yeah, he did a that show went on for 15 seasons. Did you know, real quick, that is the one show that John Beatty, my country boy, gets nerdy about, and he looks at me like, "How are you into all this nerdy shit, but not Supernatural?"
Yo, Beatty,
that's the one time I'm like, "Nah, that's nerdy as hell."
I will roll with you on Supernatural, man. That's Sarah's like favorite show besides Buffy.
They'll have it on like the gym every now and then I find myself 20 minutes like watching it, like,
it's
oh,
good.
Shit, what's going on?
Look, it's good for the same reason AC/DC is good. AC/DC makes the same album for like 15 albums, but they're the only ones who know how to make that kind of album.
Yeah.
So it's like
it's the formula.
Exactly. And they don't change it, and they're fully aware of it, which is funny. I can't remember, I was listening to a interview actually with AC/DC where like the dude was like, so what do you say to your detractors that have said that you've made the same album 15 times?
Yeah, I was about them.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where he's like, I think it was, it might have been Malcolm Young who was like, hey. We've made the same album 16 times.
Yeah, 16.
And like, I'm like, that's awesome. It's cute.
Yeah.
Well,
Supernatural is just like that.
Well, I remember when he first kind of tried to gauge my interest in Supernatural. He was like, "Hey, did you hear about Supernatural Con coming to Jack's?" And I was like, "Nah, this shit sounds nerdy." And that's when he was like,
really?
Potter's I'm a big nerdy.
Wow.
He was like,
I'm
a big fan.
Podcast. That's too nerdy for me.
Well, that's the thing he couldn't comprehend. He was like, "How do you like comic
He's like,
books, but you don't fuck with Supernatural?
How do you live in a glass house?"
Yeah. I didn't watch it either till when I was working in the shop. They would always have it on like marathons.
Look, I'm not saying I'm not saying people should watch it. I'm just saying I'm just saying don't be like Botter and throw stones at people that do. You know what I'm saying?
He was trying to call me nerdy. Like I was defending myself.
Hey, yo, son, you done? Welcome to the Showbox Podcast. I'm your host, Cesar Cordero.
It's got a way better ring to it. I want to go ahead and do, the boys has got me in like this very weird, like just edgy, depressive edgelord mood, right? So I apologize in advance.
Put the beer down, Botter.
All right, I got it. Which one?
3 beer bottles.
Yo, real quick, before we get started, I want to knock out the most important part of the show. And that's
Butter.
Marvel. Shout out to Chris, wherever you are. I want to go ahead and do a quick shout out to a new Shortbox patron that joined the family this week. Goes by, get ready, get applause ready. Lars Lundquist. Welcome to the family, Lars. Lars signed up for our Patreon. He's a supporter of the show. Welcome aboard, brother.
Shout out to Lars, and also another round of applause for Butter pronouncing his name right.
Yay! That was another one I was going to text you. Like, yo, how do you say this one? Send me the...
Good house cleaning. Yeah.
I also want to go ahead and shout out whoever this mystery Best Buy gift card giver is.
Oh.
I thought it was someone else based on some bad information.
So where'd they leave that?
In my pull box, where they knew I'd find it.
On your lips.
So, I mean, it wasn't signed by anyone. The envelope didn't have a name. It's addressed to us and the crew, or it's addressed to all of us. So I just want to give them a shout out, whoever you may be.
Wow, that's cool.
The mystery deepens.
At least it wasn't at your doorstep.
I don't know how to react. I'd be like, "Oh, sweet fan mail, yeah!" They know
I'm being stabbed now.
Yeah. You'd have been like, "Yo, see who you've been giving my address to."
And then I'll go ahead and say, man, if you want to support the show in return for bonus episodes, merchandise, and other benefits, man, go ahead and go on patreon.com/theshortbox. See what we have to offer, and if it's something that you feel, hey, this is worth contributing with my dollars, sign up, man. Become a Shortbox patron. We are an independent group that do this day, week in, week out, and any contributions are appreciated. Like I said, we've got over 20 bonus episodes, a bunch of merch, a bunch of other perks.
Give us your money.
So give us a shot. Yes, give us your cash.
Give us your money. Give us your money.
So, how about we go ahead and kick this off with our short box story segment. Short box stories, for those of you joining us for the first time, is our segment of the show where we go around and highlight a few newsworthy articles.
You paused like we have a bump for that. Do we have a bump?
Oh,
Yeah, it's the little da-da-down.
Really?
Yeah.
We got to change that.
I need to start
This
listening.
is what I get for not listening to the show.
Yeah, you lived the show, remember?
Oh no! Did you say that?
He did. He fucking did.
That's brutal.
I love you so much right now.
Brutal.
I love it. That's how I sound in your head.
Real quick. I've completely overlooked a.
Need that on a T-shirt.
I lived this
I
show.
live the show.
Guys, get on it.
Yeah, come on. I've overlooked a key shout out. Today we are joined by in studio audience member Chris Millbrook is here with us, the honorary 7th short box family.
It's like the Fellowship of the Ring.
Shout out to Chris. Yeah, he's here. Don't know if there was a German guy in this.
You stop right now.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Ashley,
going on?
you had. I want to start off like with positivity and really good news, especially
You're starting with Ashley?
Oh man!
and the souls that she speaks to on a regular basis.
She's got a Ouija board on standby.
I feel like we are a proud Florida podcast. We don't make it a secret
Yeah.
that we represent Jax
True,
and whatnot.
true.
And I feel like your news is going to make all of our Florida listeners really happy.
Ooh.
So Ashley, what do you got for
Regional.
us today? Regional news.
So, okay, Universal is building a new theme park called Epic Universe. And there are tons of articles, not much information. But so far, what I have figured out from all of these articles is that it's going to be really big.
Oh,
It's going to be huge. It's going to be the same size as all of Islands of Adventure and the whole City Walk area.
Did Donald Trump write this article? Oh, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
They bought that much land.
oh. So they're
they're
not
hiring-
remodeling; it's all new.
It's all
stuff.
brand
Okay.
new. They're hiring 15,000 people to actually work at the theme park,
Wow.
is what they're saying.
None of them legal.
And
Yo, God. Okay.
so they
I'll be
so
joining
far
that staff.
they're saying there's fountains, fireworks, colorful buildings, and they're talking about the layout of it. I read this whole thing on like this whole theme park website that's like already kind of digging into this tiny little announcement they made. But the layout that they're going to do is there's going to be like this central circle, and then there's going to be all these different lands that branch off of it. So instead of being able to walk around the whole thing, you have to go to your separate
hub world?
adventure or whatever. Yeah, and then
Okay.
come back through to the hub.
This sounds like a D&D adventure.
Oh,
It
Like a
your
map.
save points.
Yeah. And like go to your different areas. So that means that they could have a different theme for every
And
single
different
one
ticket
of these.
pricings. Oh yeah.
Every single one of these little areas. So they
Itchy and
haven't
scratchy land.
announced like what they're doing yet, but they can do so much stuff with it.
Where's the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas land? That's the one I want to go to.
So, okay, so I know, because I know Warren's listening, this reminds me of the Simpsons Itchy and Scratchy Land
Oh, it's a
episode
great
where
episode.
they talk about John Travolta. It's like, oh, look, the robots look so lifelike. And it's like, that one looks like John Travolta. And he's like cleaning a glass, and he's like, yeah, it looks like.
Can you do that funny? That was really sad.
That shit was hilarious, dude.
So wait, is there going to be any, I guess, superhero properties at this?
They haven't announced any of that yet, but I think the big news was how big it was going to be and how they're going to be a bunch of separate, different little themes all over the place, and you have to go back to this central location, and they don't
Interesting.
have a theme park like that yet.
Orlando, right?
Yes,
Oh,
Orlando.
that's going to be an unbearable city to fucking
Oh,
drive
my God.
to. Good.
Yeah, it's going to be
Traffic's
crazy.
not bad enough.
Are you looking forward to it, Ashley? Do you go to theme parks like that?
I like Islands of Adventure. That's about as far as it goes, and that I can only take in. Like, I can do a day of that.
Yeah.
I
like-
could be in that motherfucker all day. Especially
Yeah,
like
surprise,
the Marvel
surprise.
superhero land.
You're like,
It's like,
they're
'cause
like,
they have-
sir, please, you cannot go in the express lane again in the Spider-Man simulator. You're like, I didn't get
That
one
ride
of
is so fun, man. God.
Rolling up in a wheelchair,
It's because,
pretending.
they haven't updated it since like 95.
Dude, there is fucking
no.
dust
I
all
feel like
over
a
the
kid.
Daily
I know.
Bugle. All over
It
the
is.
Daily Bugle. There's dust on that.
The Hulk ride's still cool though.
Well, yeah,
if it was ever open.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
it's
they
never
redid it.
open.
They redid it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When was that? Recently?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
So- 'cause
did they
it wasn't-
finally...
Yeah, it's back, baby.
Wait, did they catch up with, like, Eric Bana Hulk? Like,
Eric Bana Hulk.
No, it's still dated. They still got Eric.
Ang Lee Hulk experience.
Shit, they got Bill Bixby up in that bitch.
introducing the new Hulk ride base. Yo, that would be
We
so
still
wild.
catching up.
It's from the 70s. There's a dude in bell bottoms telling you to, all right, are you how tall are you?
Yo,
It's
wait till Tobey Maguire Spider-Man comes to
Oh,
Universal
God.
Island. Oh, that's good. Thank you, Ashley. I needed that.
Yeah, I'm excited. I remember the last time I went to Islands of Adventure, I went with my friend, and you know how you can get on the Hulk faster if you do that like single rider thing.
What?
So you
Yeah,
can get in
the-
a single rider line if you don't care if you sit with your friend.
yeah.
And you get on the ride faster. So we were on I think we rode it 5 or 6 times in a row. And I'm sitting next to this dude, and we're going up the thing, and he like pulls out a pipe and starts smoking weed.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, there's cameras, and the whole rest of the day I was like, I think somebody's gonna walk up to me and kick me out of this park because they're gonna think that I know that guy.
You think the Hulk's gonna come
The
stop you?
whole rest of the day, I was so paranoid. I've never seen anything like
I
that
think you got to
before.
contact.
Yo,
I know. That paranoia set in quick.
You're like, I was looking over my shoulder all the time. Like Electro was going to get me for real.
All day, I was like, "Is that guy looking at me?"
Giant Modoc's looking at me.
You know, and even because they still do the parade, right? Even like the parade dudes are still dressed in like
90s.
outdated.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
And I
it's
love
all
it.
90s spandex guys that have bodies like
All the
70s
art is like
wrestlers.
90s art. Yeah. It's crazy.
I was like, yo, Wolverine, you're looking like Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
And the lady that plays Storm is like a Caucasian lady trying her best like Storm impression.
Not in blackface.
Wind.
Oh, that would be terrible.
Oh man, thank you,
Oh,
Ashley.
She was at a night shift at Perkins the day before.
Perkins.
Storm.
As much as we're talking, I would go back in a heartbeat.
Dude, yes.
Yo, don't get me started. Give
Yeah.
me a Florida resident pass. Thank you, Ashley. See, your body of news, man.
So-
it's a milestone, right?
Yeah, I think so. Hey, everybody, it's your old pal C from the Shortbox Podcast. Listen, have I got a deal for you? Now, we don't normally push stuff on our show unless we believe in it. This is something that we believe in. Tolv headphones by Studio. With a modern Scandinavian design, they bridge the gap between style and technology with the fires of Asgard. And I'm going to be real with you. With 7 hours...
in like a wrecking ball.
Okay, Barnett, listen.
Oh, my bad. We're recording the commercial now.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry,
man.
sorry.
Anyway, with 7 hours of battery life, you'll have plenty of time to listen to Slayer, Mayhem, or Skeleton Witch, and
Oh, my bad. I'm gonna turn the volume on the studios down
Yeah.
just a little bit. All right.
Thanks,
Sorry,
buddy.
sorry.
Anyway, they provide free worldwide shipping, and there's no reason to pay full price. So please use our promo code SHORTBOX, and you'll get 15% off. That's promo code SHORTBOX, and you'll get 15% off of the headphones that we use on this show. Make it a priority in your life. It's important.
Big
Gotcha.
pimpin', spending cheese. You know what? I should probably leave while you're recording this commercial. It's important. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, remember, Studio for the best listening experience.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled program.
So we tend to talk about the big two, and they tend to get a lot of attention. I purposely try to stay away from that only because they do get a lot, and I think a lot of people associate. I think they associate comics too much with that.
Fair.
As opposed to remembering that there are some people who are out there that are creating and own their own characters. And that's why, Botter, you mentioned, you touched on this a little bit, and that was the Spawn reaching 300.
Yes.
Issue number 300. And, you know, Todd McFarlane, he is no stranger to talking about himself, for sure. But the man did start from the bottom. And he bet on himself and won. And I think it's cool that when this issue's coming out, he's getting a bunch of heavy hitters as far as artists are concerned that probably grew up reading Spawn.
Sure.
You know? And like dudes like Jerome Opeña are drawing a variant for 300, and they released that. They released the 300 variant that Jerome Opeña has drawn. It looks freaking badass. It's got a bunch of spawns throughout history, Gunslinger Spawn, Omega Spawn, all that stuff. And of course, Greg Capullo had to come back, which is kind of emotional because Greg Capullo got his start because Todd McFarlane gave him a shot. And anybody that is familiar with his work with Batman currently, Scott Snyder, knows that he is no slouch. But what people may not know is that Greg Capullo also had a Titanic run on Spawn for a long time, with Todd McFarlane not only inking but writing the book. So it's kind of cool to see all these names that, that you forget that this is like he's kind of a mainstream character now, but that's only because Todd McFarlane put sweat and his own life into it. The idea that this is like the first mainstream independent. It sounds weird to say because it's only mainstream because Todd McFarlane worked his ass off.
Yeah.
First independent comic book to reach 300 issues. It's a pretty big milestone.
Oh yeah.
And by 301, they actually have like covers set up like we made it, like stuff like this is
What's
history.
What's Savage Dragon up to? That's gotta be.
That's a good
close.
question. It's got to be.
Yeah,
it has to be.
They're the only two left.
Yeah,
of the original.
Yeah. So it's kind of neat that it's happening, and maybe people aren't aware of this because it tends to get overshadowed by everything going on at Disney and Warner Brothers. It seems that a lot of things that we concentrate on nowadays deal more with comic books as far as pop culture icons are concerned. And you forget that sometimes there are people that just fart out an idea and bet on themselves and sometimes make it. And I like that.
And he bet on himself when he didn't have to.
Yes.
He was already like one of the top guys at Marvel. He could have just rode those,
he could have been a houseman, like a freaking
company guy.
Yep.
I'm glad you brought that up because when I was doing the Todd McFarlane research, that was the article that was just kind of everywhere that would pop up, like in the first page of Google. And I actually ended up putting that on my poll because I was just really impressed by that. Like you said, it's 300 issues. Yeah, I mean every Big 2 book is well past 300. But
shit, they just came out with the Action Comics 1000,
exactly.
Detective Comics 1000.
But it was something about like learning more about McFarlane, and like you said, man, it's damn impressive that like you got a guy that decided to go out on his own. And even though he's been kind of on and off of Spawn, it's still like you could definitely tell that anytime he gets back onto it, it's like
he never stopped.
Day one.
He never stopped.
He's been involved in some capacity
the whole time. Yeah, like if he wasn't drawing it, he was always writing it.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, I've got that on my poll. So, is anyone else going to pick it up? 300?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I picked up the few issues before. I mean, I kind of still read Spawn every now and then. It's the little artist spotlight we did on Todd McFarlane has made me want to revisit it just because it's like, you know what, man, I like that dude. Like, I'm rooting for him. Like, he doesn't need my money. Yeah, he's a freaking millionaire. But it's still like, he has a different sort of sensibility about him where you look him up on YouTube and to the point where I was just watching some of his drawing videos and my wife is like, this guy's funny.
Yeah,
like Like he seems he's just a funny old man. Like he's a cool dude. Like he's 56, guys. Like the dude is sitting here like, all right, today I'm going to show you how to draw Batgirl. She's got this cool hair. He's making. Have you seen the videos?
Yeah.
He's like Bob Ross from the '90s. Like he's like a human Quaalude. You could be like just relax. And he's like, all right, now we take a little bit of that, and then.
I want to see Tom McFarlane do ASMR now,
dude. They are ASMR videos. Like it's like, but to the point where like she doesn't really know anything about him, but she's like, I like that guy.
Yeah,
like he seems like
a likable guy.
He is like a cool dude because he basically says stuff like, and Ed, you had mentioned it where you were like, anybody could do what I did.
Yeah,
it's just that I was the first one to be like, why don't we just do it this way?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm rooting for the guy. I'm excited about issue 300. I think it's I think it is a milestone. I mean, especially for us, we just got done talking about Patreon and, getting support, but this is still a labor of love for us, and I think that speaks volumes as far as, guys like Todd McFarlane being an influence. So
well said. Thank you, C. That's good. My spotlight involves the news that Ava DuVernay, who's doing the big screen version of DC's New Gods, which is coming out in a couple of years. There's still no hard date. I don't even think they've got filming going on yet, but she confirmed earlier this week that Darkseid and the female Furies will appear in the movie.
Crazy.
I forgot
Whoa.
that Tom King is co-writing the
Tom
script.
King.
Yeah.
Which we got
boy
an email.
Tom
We
King.
got an email about that, which was pretty funny. But I thought that was pretty cool because it shows that they are going to be treating the myth of, at least so far, with the respect. Ava DuVernay said that the female Furies were always some of her favorite characters growing
they're
up.
cool.
And to see Darkseid too on the big screen would
Do you
definitely be.
think about this? We're getting Eternals and New Gods.
Someone,
Yeah.
Jack Kirby's going to
That's
come back and beat
crazy.
the shit out of somebody with a cigar.
No.
Wait,
It was my money.
Do you know how
You sons
crazy
of
it'd be
bitches.
if they did the like the whole Tupac hologram? Have Jack Kirby hologram at the opening?
It'll just be him smoking.
Yeah.
Not really doing or saying anything.
I am curious to see how they go about, I guess, differentiating the two properties. You know, because I'm always curious whenever they do properties that are kind of similar.
Yeah.
If that'll translate to whatever the box office numbers are or the reviews
Regarding...
So, just as far as like the impression it'll have on the fans. You know, if the New Gods movie comes out first, are still people still likely to go see like the Eternals, or will there be those?
The New Gods is a completely different story, though.
But to us, it
Complete-
is for sure. For us, absolutely.
You know, and I know, I think the stories are, like, even to John Q. moviegoer, I think different enough. Like, New Gods is basically Star Wars before Star Wars, and it's like good versus evil, whereas Eternals is more or less like genetic experiments and like where the origins of life. Like Eternals is more or less like creation story, where like I gotta try not to sound like Joseph Campbell here. Yes, you see, Joseph Campbell would say that the Aurora Boros snake eating its
hero's
own
journey.
tail is representative of but I think the two are different enough. Visually, however, they are similar.
Yeah.
Because it's Kirby, right?
that's where I was going.
So it's like, how do you tell those stories without that stupid competition muddying the waters up
Yeah.
for all of us fans?
Yeah.
You know, that's the real question.
And in Tom King's involvement, like, is this going to be a Dark Side
Psychological
story?
thriller.
Is this
Yeah.
going to be a Miracle Man?
Right.
Or Mr. Miracle?
Right,
sorry,
right,
Mr.
right.
Miracle story? Because they mentioned in the article Big Barda
Yep.
might be in it. So it's everything's still up in the air on what they're
It's
actually
my girl,
doing.
Big Barda.
But just to see Apocalypse, like, fully rendered on the screen.
I want to see Big Barda.
I want to see
To think that-
two C's.
Oh, yeah.
Two
Yeah.
C's.
To think we're going to
and
see
Granny Goodness.
To think
Yeah.
we're going to see all of this in one movie is almost like that's
Like
a
older
lot.
ladies.
That's
Give
a
me a
lot of
break.
craziness to try to pack into whatever it may be,
is
a 2 or
crazy.
3 hour movie.
I mean, it's not anymore. Not in this day and age. You know.
So I'm wondering if it's going to be like a Dark Side origin story where he kills the god and gets the
the
his
kid.
power. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, damn! An origin like the New Gods origins. That would be
And set
pretty
him up
badass.
as the big DC villain.
Sure.
To like tell his story because he's
They might fuck it up.
well,
It's DC. Yeah.
Yeah, it's DC. We'll
So
see.
that's what I've got. Ed, you speaking about DC? You had
we
a
go.
pretty good article.
Okay. There was a Forbes article recently, and it's basically this is all theory. This is not fact or anything. This is kind of the future since this AT&T.
So news as
acquisition.
far as the short box is concerned.
So it's
Yo, hard
AT&T.
concrete facts.
Yes.
Hard facts. And all the numbers I'm giving are this article, so if they're not accurate, I'm just going by what the article says. So basically, AT&T now is Warner Brothers is all HBO, DC. It's all under the AT&T umbrella.
Jesus.
A totally different type of company.
Right down to the baseball stadium is now the
Yeah.
AT&T. It's not the Turner Stadium anymore.
Exactly. So Turner, Warner Brothers, DC, and what the thinking is. This article by Rob. It's a Forbes article, so this is like a legit. This isn't Latino
yeah,
review.
this isn't Latino
this is a
review,
legit
folks.
magazine.
We'll see. Don't count Latino review off just yet. We'll see.
So what he was saying is that since AT&T acquired them, they also inherited almost $164 billion in debt. And we've already seen them kind of cleaning house with like HBO, like upper management stuff. AT&T has been going in. Their AT&T CEO is described as a pretty no nonsense, straight to the point kind of guy. So a lot of the people on the creative side are worried about, okay, now that we're under this umbrella, we got to cut all this debt, and the first thing is payroll. And then now what's next? So they already canceled the a couple streaming or the streaming service Filmstruck, even though it wasn't like a huge thing, but it's for like
Right.
So that's gone. So they're thinking. Let me see. There's also. Let me see. So there's thinking that, well, if that's going to go, what about like studios like or channels like Boomerang, Adult Swim,
Right.
if that's going to be on the chopping block too to kind of get this debt under control.
Oh, jeez.
Damn, they got a lot of properties.
And then
Jesus
going
Christ.
back to this recent Comic-Con, he was talking about DC not having like a big main exhibit display. It was basically part of the Warner Media display, so they didn't have a stand. The number 2 comic company, 35% of the market of comic books doesn't have a display or doesn't have a standalone presence at Comic-Con.
It's freaking weird.
That's not a good sign. That's kind of where these theories are going, and they're saying that they might rebrand DC. They want those IPs so they can make money on the IPs of Batman, Superman, and those guys. But they're thinking that they might have DC kind of turn it into like a lifestyle brand, or it's like an ambassador to. They call it ambassador to geek culture.
Ew.
So like all these like young guys like, whoa, hey guys, welcome to DC. Whoa, check out the new Dark Side plushie. This is great.
Is it the professor? Or the Simpsons?
It's basic. You know what it is, Botter? It's if we don't play our cards right, it's what the show might become.
And another thing with
Frightening.
Yeah, and that also like what's going to happen with, and then plus the cancellation of like Swamp Thing, them Vertigo going away.
Hey guys, top 5 Batman costumes going up here.
Yeah, so is it going to be, and then this DC universe is going to be affected. So it's nothing said, but it's just if they're streamlining, cutting back. Like I said, Vertigo was a big thing. Is the DC Universe app going to still be around? It's pretty crazy, and they link an article. Variety did an article with the with AT&T CEO, and talking about everything like HBO, Turner, even Berlanti as like a
Oh my God.
like a thing, but no mention of DC. And this is like a big article, and that's a pretty big property to acquire. You know, I would think even beyond just fans. That's a big.
Is it sad at this point that I'm just like,
And in Berlanti,
don't
they
take
didn't
away
even-
my Adult Swim?
Yeah. So I mean, if they don't even mention DC, how's that going to affect the publishing? Because the numbers in this article say that all comics, everybody, Marvel, DC, every independent Image, basically made like 1.1 billion total, completely, which is huge number to normal people.
No, that's fucking.
But to
chump change.
major
Yeah.
conglomerates, global
Right.
conglomerates, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider that's all comic. It's not
And
like all the
considering
individuals.
Avengers made $1 billion, Endgame made $1 billion just by itself, and why would you keep? And they're not losing money, but why would you keep this
Right.
if you're trying to pay
Right.
off this debt?
Right.
And there was another.
Oh my God, Disney's
So-
going to buy DC too.
Honestly, I'm thinking
They would actually embrace it.
I
like
know.
they embraced Marvel.
Oh my God.
I mean,
fucking crazy would that
will
be? No more competition.
will a corporation that has no real ties to the entertainment industry that just acquired this debt from a bottom line standpoint?
Oh, dude, I would love that because then all the nerds out there that'd be like, fucking, I like Marvel more than DC. I like DC more than Marvel. Like, it's the same shit.
or it comes down to do you
gonna have a fucking-
do you like Disney or Warner Brothers
Yeah,
more?
you're going to have a fucking
God.
Minnie Mouse dressed like Batman in the same goddamn Minnie Mouse in a fucking Spider-Man outfit.
All your money.
Yep.
So, and then Dan DiDio, he was even mentioning in this article that an excerpt from it that like DC's books, like all of their reprints and collections, are outselling their current product. So that's another thing, and he's saying that's our fault because we're not.
Trade waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, this is okay.
No, not trade waiting.
Or
Like buying
You're
Watchmen, buying Dark Knight Returns, buying
like finished like whole
like older stuff,
Yeah.
That's
not-
essentially trade waiting a little bit.
but not new.
Not 20
trades.
years trade waiting.
Well,
That's
yeah,
just like,
I see what I
Like
see what you're saying,
Arkham,
but-
like all their
Yeah,
trades, all their because DC puts out like the must-have essentials.
Yep,
in the,
yep.
like there's
and
some
those are all-
motherfucker out there trade waiting for 30 years. Like trying to be the one dude out there that's like,
Yeah, like
I'm
Watchmen.
tra-
It's like, 30 years, finally.
like my dad's trade waiting.
get
He's like,
my
no, son,
ultimate.
I'm trade waiting.
I'm waiting for this ultimate
But
edition.
what you're saying is people aren't going in the shops on a weekly basis buying comic books. They're
True.
seeing more profit from finished old collections.
Right.
Old collections.
Right.
Yeah. Which makes
Right.
sense. I mean, that's usually like at least if I'm going to recommend a book to someone, it'll normally be one of the
shit.
iconic things.
No, but-
Butter's like, yeah,
we all killed DC.
Yeah, I finally did it. No. Butter's like, which makes sense because I kill
Changing
comics.
to AT&T, we're switching my plan.
Real quick, if I may shameless plug, Marvel. I know, no.
You're killing
going the
comics,
same.
period,
I know,
dude.
I know. Ed, I'm
Butter,
sorry to
you're
interrupt.
murdering comics.
No,
Butter.
you're good.
Oh
It's,
my God.
it's,
I'm Homelander.
it's just a crazy. And like I said, this is all up in the air. This isn't fact. This isn't,
Damn, Ed.
That's a very
don't say
ominous.
that
That
shit.
is a very ominous article
Don't-
for
don't-
like,
But
not.
But when you
certainty.
like kind of look at these
Yeah,
pieces,
yeah.
it kind of like, well, this could happen, and essentially what you could see is them just licensing properties
just about
out.
to
Guys,
say
to-
that. Yep.
if you could
Just
see
that's it.
Ed
To
right
other
now,
properties.
he's got his hair is unkempt. He's got a cigarette
That's
burnt
just the way-
all the way to the
looks
butt.
like a very depressed
Like
Clark
his
Kent
filter.
right now.
He's got like Larry King.
I'm Ben
suspenders.
Urich in Daredevil.
Yes, dude.
frazzled.
Yes.
Fuck.
He's sitting here like, guys,
It's Matt Murdock. I can't tell anybody though. I can't. It's a story. It's a Pulitzer. I'm losing out.
Ed's like, follow the trail, follow the paperwork. It'll take you all the way to the top.
oh man,
Corruption goes all the way to the president.
If Ben Urich was a brother and find out that Matt Murdock was
He
Daredevil,
was a brother and he got killed.
the fucking barbershop would know before anyone else.
Pops and Luke Cage, they knew. They fucking knew.
Damn. Well, for some reason, the first thing I thought about the whole time you were talking about was like, I can see DC Comics being branded with the WB logo instead. Shit, I can see comic books going the same way that they did in the early or late 90s.
Well, they wouldn't be. They'd be
early
branded with the
2000s.
AT&T logo.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Fucking the little singular bars going up on the damn side of the
And
comic
well, we
book.
talked about it a little bit because with about the HBO Max streaming service, they're going to put a lot of money into that, and they're going to use that HBO name to be their rather than Warner streaming. It'll be the HBO Max.
You know
streaming.
what? The one time I tried to hop on like a service ahead of time, I bought that DC Universe app like
Bye.
so early on. Now I'm like, well, fuck, am I gonna get a refund? Like, shit. And for some reason, I could see like comic, like it almost sounds similar in this instance to how Marvel ended up selling their IPs to get out of debt in the late 90s.
Yeah.
And then, eventually they blew up, and now they're trying to get all their IPs back.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's maybe the same
Well,
road
it's going
that
to
DC
be
's
like DC selling their IPs to pay off this, pay off the debt too, and just not like let someone else publish the comic books.
Oh,
just,
God.
How weird would that be? Like
Jesus.
another publisher publishing Batman.
Todd McFarlane's right
Todd
there to
McFarlane
scoop
Image.
him up. Scoop him up.
So it's just like seeing all these recent events just happen. It's
Senor,
kind
Senor Griffin, we don't have the money this month. Yeah.
Yeah, see? I mean, comic books aren't a super they're like the price
No.
point is way too fucking small, so I could see them farming out the distribution to a different
But you
company
can do
that's
the
willing to
Marvel
take that
thing
hit.
is because kind of Marvel
maybe.
looks at the comics like, okay, we got the little kids.
It's just supplemental.
And then the
at this
comics
point.
are like for the teens, kind of get the
Yeah.
teens, and then the movies gets everybody. So, and then the comics can be a loss leader to kind of keep the name out, keep new stories going, rather than just, okay, we're going to tell the same story, origin story, every 10 years we're going to reboot it, or 5 years, 4 years.
Isn't that
So-
sad? That's what it's.
It's
I mean,
like
as far as
the,
the Big Two is concerned, that's what
'cause-
it's turned into. They're
Yeah,
just
'cause-
pamphlets for the movies.
Yeah, because before that, it's like the Disney comics. They're not,
Yeah.
they'll just, license the name out and people will produce comics for them.
Sure.
Which the stories are going to be very bland, very just, it's not going to
Because that's all they have to be.
they're not going to be able to, it's because now you buy the license, but if you do something too crazy, they're going to pull that from you.
Ed has
you know.
made me want to empty my veins in a bathtub.
Ashley, how's this make you feel? All this news.
This is pretty depressing, and it sucks because those DC app shows were so good. Like
I started
Doom
watching.
Patrol.
So I started watching Krypton. It's not bad.
Yeah, I heard it's not bad.
It's not bad.
None.
Yeah, but you got to watch Doom Patrol and
No, that's good
Swamp
too.
Thing. Those
Yeah.
are really good.
I don't see none of that being affected. I think we're going to continue getting those type of shows because they've
maybe.
got years of source material. It's just we won't see anything new. As far as the comic books, I don't think we'll get any new classics anymore because they'll
Yeah.
just be an afterthought.
When's the last
Yeah.
time we got one?
If I had time,
both
maybe
sides of
could.
the house.
To be honest, more the creator-owned route is where I'm seeing more of like my favorite like new classics.
'Cause there's no
Yeah.
handcuffs on those guys.
Yeah.
And they have full rights
Yeah.
to their characters.
Yep.
And
I was telling who was I talking? I think it was either Walt or Drew, but I was telling them as a comic fan like myself who, put in all the work early on, and then eventually kind of got off buying current comic books in the last 2-3 years. I don't feel like I'm going to miss the train or be like, I'll talk to my dad and. Or even like folks his age who are like, I just have no idea what's going on in comic books. I don't know if I'll ever feel that way because the movies are still drawing from these iconic stories that I think we all have read and still hold in high regard. And I think it'll be a long time before they run out of older source material to, stay relevant.
Yeah. And just going back to the print comics.
Please see, why do I sit across from him when we talk about like these big two?
But that's not saying that comics themselves will go away. It'll probably just be like digital only, like a digital format. They might not make.
I mean, that's fine.
But
that's fine. At least they still exist.
And then I think just half full they would digital, and then they would make a nice collection that you could buy as a book. Because book sales surprisingly
get a subscription.
But then the shops though, like what happens to the shops?
Fuck them. Fuck them. I want them to die.
Every comic shop.
Die.
Why would you want them to die?
Because then there's no comics if they don't. Think about it.
Say that again.
So what would you want?
Okay.
Paper comics and shop exist or no comics?
Oh, pick your poison.
Because
you have to choose one.
Because paper comics have an expiration date. They're gonna die.
Sure.
But if they do die, shops won't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll just end up turning to what they're doing now, which is game stores.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We got gaming in here,
Funkos,
guys.
all that.
We got Funko Pops. We got eventually it's gonna be video games or whatever, and they turn into freaking glorified movie stops.
When do you think
and those
they'll make
things are
Marvel
gone.
stores? I'm surprised
Dude,
they haven't done that.
Man.
But that's the thing. They know they'll go digital, and I think you guys have worked digitally. You do work digitally in your artwork.
I'm surprised
you can
that's
look
not
at comic books now and tell when an artist has only used digital stuff to draw their panels. Joelle Jones is a perfect example. I've read a lot of the Batman, Tom King stuff, and the Catwoman stuff, and I see like, oh my god, that person totally took a shortcut drawing the hair using digital stuff. I know because Todd McFarlane
Deadlines.
showed me. Yeah, so it's like now it's like, all right, well now what do we do? Well, I mean, it has to change. Something has to change. It's the only way forward.
Because, like I said, traditional book sales, surprisingly, even in this digital age, have gone up.
Yeah.
But comics are going to be put in that periodical category,
Right.
Like magazines, newspapers,
Right.
and kind of temporary time-stamped material. So
we'll probably see print die out in the next generation or two.
I don't think it'll
Because you've got
I
folks
think
as far as comics are concerned, like actual
paper
print,
print.
yes,
books
only if
not anytime soon.
only if the prices stay the same.
And they won't.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Is that comics were popular and pulp stories were popular as well because they were cheap. They were printed on cheap paper.
Yep.
And
Newsprint.
you could get entertainment for a low price, like essentially what Netflix is when it first started out.
Yeah.
Right. It won because it essentially had the same business plan as pulp magazines did back in the 30s. Here's some entertainment. It's cheap, and you can just pay a fart for a movie.
It's like a quarter.
Yeah.
You're good. You can just roll it up and toss it in the
Exactly.
corner.
Exactly. When you're done, to throw it away, do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
That's why comics were worth money, is because when people started collecting them and they're like, oh, this shit's important.
Yeah.
People were like, well, it was printed on shitty paper.
Yeah.
Like
that's why they're all raggedy and eaten by bugs.
Right.
Gross.
So the reason why we have them isn't because of their longevity. It's because of how cheap they were to make and how cheap they were to print out. The more expensive they started getting with the plastic freaking pages and
glossy
whatever,
pages.
Forget it. The death knell was sounding even then. I was like, bong.
This might be a conversation for another day, but I'm curious as to what the payout structure is.
Yeah.
Like how that has grown exponentially. Because a lot of these writers and artists, I feel like, at least on the writer side, they've gotten bigger than over the years because of like things like Twitter, the creator own route. Like I wonder if that'll have an impact too, whether we see it go full digital anytime soon.
Full digital is going to be a big price, a big wage.
I would say,
yeah.
I would
there's a lot of I think a lot of times it's you get royalties. Let's see, how Todd McFarlane made so much money doing Spider-Man.
Right.
He sold so many issues, you got so much extra, like a bonus on
mean,
top of your salary.
it all goes back to that
So,
guy, man.
and now that it's one format, and how can you really track digital sales? It's because between the pirating.
You do the subscription route again, like
Yeah.
the way that. So it's like old school. It's almost like they're going backwards. The way like you could see the ads in old Marvel comics where it was like, "Hey kids, for 1 year subscription, you can get 2 books or 3 books for this price. Sign up now." It's exactly what it's going to be like. And somebody, I don't know who it is, my bet is Image or Dark Horse, they're going to underbid. And they're going to be like, for a year, you can get all our titles, not just 2 or 3.
Oh, yeah. What is that?
For like a fart.
Comixology. I think.
It'll be like 10 cents. Like
They
it'll
did
be
it with.
something-
Do you remember them doing that with physical books too? Like a subscription service from Image
Really?
when they're
I don't
having
remember
issues with
that.
Diamond.
They're
yeah.
ahead of the game.
Oh, I do. When
Yeah.
they were having, yeah.
Yeah, they were basically just because Diamond, such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So they were kind of not quite what TKO is doing, but they were definitely going to that subscription.
I didn't even
service.
think about TKO in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. It
Yeah,
sounds like
damn,
we'll probably
yeah.
be revisiting this as more information
We'll see.
comes
It's
out.
just something
Yeah.
that's just going to keep every move they make now. It's going to be like, oh, okay. Here's the shit.
Yep.
All right, Yurik, thank you for that.
Rolled off your tongue so quickly.
So I want to go ahead and before we
Lunch
go,
lady's going to kick my ass now in my house. Like, burn again.
Awesome.
and the only person that can stop her, Ashley. Take her fucking soul, Ashley. I want to go ahead and switch it up because we're going to dedicate a good amount of time to The Boys in the second half. So I want to get our emails out of the way now. Then we'll go on break. We've got 3 emails and then a voicemail to play. See, I'll go ahead and let you do the honors of reading this first one from
Okay.
RC.
Oh, RC. Here we go. The House That Hickman Built is the title of this email. Hey, Shortbox crew, quick questions for you. I'm sure you've answered this before. So I've been enjoying Hickman's take on the X-Men thus far, even though we are at the start of his no doubt epic run. I'm not a big X-Men follower, but having Hickman's name piqued my curiosity, especially since I binged his Avengers run right before Secret Wars came out. My man. My wallet is going to hate me for sure. See, look, this is relevant. See, my wallet is going to hate me for sure with all his $4.99 books coming out weekly. Now for the questions, right, dude?
That again?
They're trying. I'm not doing anything. They're murdering comics with these prices. What are your thoughts on Hickman's take on the X-Men? 1, 2. With so many books coming out and many of the extra-sized and extra-priced, example of Absolute Carnage #1, $7.99, Hickman's House of X and Powers of X, $4.99. How many books do you add to your pool before you start wondering if eating or reading a comic is more important? Nerd struggles, am I right? Just wondering. Thanks for that sweet short box content.
Ooh. You're welcome, RC.
RC Gamut.
Thank you. How about we tackle that first question? What are your thoughts on Hickman's take on the X-Men?
Are you guys reading it?
I haven't read it yet.
Okay.
I have it. I haven't read it yet.
I think RC,
I heard nothing but
I think just for
good things.
time's sake, me seeing Drew did a whole episode on it, this previous one, touching on Hickman's X-Men, but
quite good.
I think it's safe to see that me, you, and Drew have given
We
it
enjoyed it.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
So hella enjoying it. And then the second question of so many books coming out, many of them extra sized and extra priced. How many books do you add to your pool before you start wondering?
Shit.
Shh, take it away. Subtract.
Now that I've actually got bills, before, I mean, my pool used to easily be like 25, 30 books. Now it's like, I'm usually just buying like the big ones and then maybe 1 or 2 like Image ones because it's just easy to, because I know that those Image ones after 5 issues, it's pretty much done. It'll take a long break. But if I'm going to the shop spending more than $20 a week, and then I start cutting.
I'm kind of that trade waiter. I just buy the first issue. If I like it, okay, I'll wait. I'll see how this comes out.
I want to add, because that reminded me, there's so many different avenues now to get my comic fix that I'm not buying as many weekly titles. Like I've got Marvel Unlimited, I've got the DC Universe app, and then there's all the shows. There's plenty of trades coming out. So I mean, I feel like there's just a lot more ways to consume comic books now.
Definitely.
Ashley.
So I just picked up about 3 weeks worth, and it was $100.
Damn!
I know.
How many titles do you, if you don't mind me asking?
A page and a half when he printed it out. But some of them are old. Like, if they're old, they don't drop off. But I took a bunch of stuff. As soon as I paid that, I took some stuff off.
Oh, yeah. You start having a come to Jesus moment when he pays that.
Yeah, when I was like, oh, God.
Josh is next to you, just shaking his head.
Oh, that goes on the secret credit card.
Oh, no! Yes!
And I hope we're far enough into the episode that he's not going to hear this.
Ashley, yes.
Yeah.
Love you, Josh.
Yes, Ashley.
So yeah, that's on that.
That is fantastic.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah,
That's really cool to hear. I think we've all talked about like hiding it from our
Everyone does
girlfriends, but I've not heard the flip on it. Cool.
That's incredible.
I have a friend. I'm like, if anything ever happens to me, come tell him how much I paid for all this. Because I don't want him to sell my Loki statue for $100.
Whoa.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
but you'd
Because I
be
paid
lucky.
$600 for that thing. Just stuff like that.
Awesome.
Is that life
Yeah.
size?
It's pretty big.
So let me ask this: do you go about it from a price standpoint, where you're cutting books like that, where it's like, okay, I don't need this $4.99 book, I don't need this, or is it strictly by quality and titles?
It's by quality. It's kind of like what, even if it's $2.99 and I'm not digging it as much as like a $5.99 book, I'll cut it out. But like that, like I signed up for the Chip Zdarsky like Spider-Man Through the Ages, and that book's $5.99.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was $5.99, so I read the first one. I loved it, but then I was like, hey man, I'll take whatever you ordered, but I don't want the rest because it's just too much for that book.
Yeah.
What about you, Sue?
All right, RC. All right, Uncle C is going to talk to you. He's going to be real with you. All right,
Settle down now.
he's going to be real.
Sit on my lap, boy.
Here's the thing: if you are buying comics, you have to realize where they are, not just priority in your life regarding just a comic story or whatever. Because I did not collect comics on an individual sort of single issue basis until more or less recently. And that is only because, and I bring this up because it ties into comic book shops as well, there is a social communal aspect to it. So I would say if you have somebody to talk to about these books,
Yeah.
like if you have somebody on a weekly basis that is collecting with you, then by all means put whatever you guys are going to be talking about / bonding over or whatever in the pool and read those. Otherwise, man, you don't really need it because that's kind of the whole point, right? Because if the only reason you went to a comic book shop was just to get your books and get out, if it was a damn convenience store, then it is convenient for you to go in there and do just that and only that. But some of the best memories I have, and I don't think I'm speaking for everybody here when I say this, but I think everybody here could agree that some of the best memories I have, and I think we have, is going into a shop, whether it was yesterday or 20 years ago, and just being like, just hanging out and talking to other people and meeting people that you hadn't even met until you walked in and bonding over a book, right? Like, oh, that's kind of, oh, well, may I suggest this? Sometimes they're weird. Yeah. Most times they're weird.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, like, they're not, and you talk to people. So I would say just get into the books that your friends are getting into with you that you know are good, or turn somebody on to a book, man. Like do the good work and do that. Otherwise, fuck it. Don't buy it. Don't waste your time. Eat.
Might I add, most of those Marvel books will be on the MU app in like 6 months. And that's a big, like, deterrent. Like, sure, for me, it's like the only reason I'm buying those Hickman books is I think we did the math. It's like what 2 books at $5.99 a price point by the end of the
$71.
Yeah, like 72, 70 something bucks. The only reason I'm buying it is because I know Cesar and Drew are actively buying it. To your point, this is all to your point. But if not, I would just wait the 6 months because I guarantee you, I have a giant to read list right now. By the time I catch up on that, these new books will be on that Marvel Unlimited app.
Sure.
So. Good question, RC. Thank you. Next email we got is from Joshua Pickett.
Here we go. Newish Comics. Just listened to the Newish Comics episode, and I got the feeling that Drew and C don't like the current Tom King run on Batman. I redacted that statement. I do like that. I was talking about somebody else, Tony Daniel. God. See? All right. Yeah. I just wanted to know why. Because from what I hear, we like a lot of the same books. I really enjoy the current run because he's woven this thread through the whole series, and he's doing a great job of asking Bruce Wayne if he really wants to keep being Batman. Looking forward to hearing what you guys think. #MakeMineShortBox. Ooh, that boy, good.
Yeah. Thank you, Josh. Is anyone else reading the Batman series by Tom King?
Tony Daniels drawing?
No.
Oh.
No.
I was about to say.
I was going to say, I think I said it in the episode that I was talking about. I think I missed the names up. I've been actually buying full price the Tom King collected trade. I know, right? Ed's eyes just went wide like freaking fried eggs.
Wow.
Like, yeah. Like
You will
price.
not recognize this dude some days.
Yeah.
Some days he comes in here and he's like, hey.
Some body snatcher. Dude. Going on.
Clay Man. I dig it.
That dude is great. That is a
yeah.
good-ass artist.
Yes.
Isn't he a Florida native, actually?
Clay Man,
Yeah.
Joel Jones. God. All those people, man. They're freaking great. But anyway, I'm a big Tom King guy. I like what he's doing. Josh, don't hate me.
Yeah. We're not.
But Drew will fucking fight you.
Oh, yeah.
If you try and say Tom King is a good
In like very classic
writer.
Drew mode, too.
Yeah.
So very loud. and
Drew not like just curious, did he like the Mr. Miracle, or did he read that?
I don't. And here's the thing. Drew's
Well,
the
no,
one that
I
got me into Tom King.
No, I think he doesn't like he just
the
doesn't like
Batman.
Tom King Batman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I right?
I think so. I think I said.
I'm not gonna speak
Me
for
neither,
Drew.
me neither.
I'm not gonna speak
Let's
for
move
Drew.
on to this. Shout out to Joshua Pickett. Thank you for the
Yeah,
email.
thanks, Josh.
One more email and then we'll play this voicemail. This email's from Justin Lane.
All right, Justin Lane. What's up, Shortbox Nation? It's your boy Justin, a.k.a. Justin Infamous.
Oh.
And for my champion season,
Oh.
I select the HBO show American Gods. If you love mythology and mystery, like myself, I highly recommend it. I've rewatched it 3 times and found multiple clues and hidden symbols. Anyways, you guys are awesome, as usual.
Hey.
And don't forget, I'm famous.
Oh.
Yep.
I
Infamous
love that
or
show.
famous?
Isn't how many?
It's on Stars.
Stars.
Yep.
How many seasons is it?
2.
2 right now.
Have you watched all?
I am almost done with season 2. It is fantastic. Pablo Schreiber as Mad Sweeney.
You love
Love
that
him.
guy. You
I
really
do.
That was your Bruce Wayne choice.
He was. He was. He's my
I could see
screensaver,
it.
or on my computer is my background.
Well, let's calm down.
Yeah.
No more Tom Hiddleston?
He is a good choice for Mad Sweeney. He is
He
a good
is,
choice.
yeah.
How much did that set
he's
you
all
worth?
Oh, God.
Oh, jeez.
All right, I got a real quick shout out to Justin. Thank you for the
Yeah,
email.
I also want to say I recommend the book, dude. If you haven't read it,
Oh,
please do.
yeah. And
It's-
Anansi Boys.
Ooh.
It's both
Neil
good.
Gaiman. It's Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong.
Oh. All right, we got a audio.
Barter's like,
message.
yo, fuck reading.
Marvel.
Reading.
We got a voicemail from Eric Slater. All right. we're
Oh,
gonna go ahead
Slater.
and press play.
Oh.
And
Hey guys, Eric here. Real quick, I just want to champion Jordan Peele's new Twilight Zone. For those who don't know, it's on CBS All Access. I know it sucks to shell out for yet another streaming service, but this show is so good. Not to mention, Star Trek Discovery. But the new Twilight Zone, not only is it an excellent social commentary, but the show gets really meta. Like, especially in that last episode. I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but if you get a chance, episode 2 might be my favorite. The premise revolves around a magical podcast. In fact, it's a podcast narrated by Dan Carlin, which of course completely blew my mind. So I wanted to reach out to you guys and get your thoughts on it, if any of you had a chance to check it out yet. Oh yeah, and one more thing. I really love what you guys have done with the show recaps between Daredevil and Game of Thrones. I just want to throw it out there. If you guys decide to do one for the new Picard series, I want it. As always, keep up the good work. Make mine short box.
God damn,
Hey,
Eric.
guys.
Yeah.
Man, that dude.
Real quick,
is good.
when I first heard it, I thought someone from NPR sent me that.
Yeah.
I was like, why is this so well recorded?
Yeah. That new Twilight Zone is fucking hotness. It's
Really?
good. It's really good.
When did it become a CBS exclusive?
It was always a CBS
Yeah.
exclusive.
They have
Okay.
one on YouTube. The first,
That's
the
probably
very
what I'm
first
thinking of.
episode is
and
free
then
on
the rest.
YouTube.
The taste is free.
Oh, dude, it's
The
so
first
good.
taste.
It is
Real
good.
quick, we
Eric,
probably-
for sure.
Yeah, we probably look really weird to Chris, who wasn't able to hear the voicemail. All he heard was a bunch of heads go. All of our heads go down like in weird prayer unison.
I am there with you, buddy. I have not watched all of them yet. I'm really excited. I'm probably just gonna straight up buy them all on Blu-ray when they come out, and then just binge them because they'll still be good then. I really like what Jordan Peele's doing, and it doesn't feel like, oh, he's just redoing the Twilight Zone, because that show has been remade at least 3 times, I think, and every time it's been kind of forgettable. But I don't know, something about Jordan Peele, he honors the source material and he knows what he's doing. And after doing episodic television, whether it be weird vignettes through Mad TV or even Key and Peele, he's no stranger to that formula. So he knows how to work not only within those parameters, but tell an artistic story.
Does he
through
do
it.
the Rod Serling kind of
Yes,
intro
dude.
and stuff?
Yes.
Submitted for your approval.
Yes, dude. It's cool, and it's Jordan Peele, and he has a
awesome.
weird voice. You know, like
Oh.
it's not like Jordan Peele doesn't have Rod Serling's voice.
Yeah.
That deep
Yeah.
sort of like Harold Beeman was just one
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Like, but he does have a lower timbre, and he doesn't try to make it. He doesn't try to
He's not
affect
trying
a
to imitate
voice.
him.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just Jordan Peele introducing this episode, but also I'm trying to be creepy as fuck. You know.
That's cool.
So it's so good. I
Yeah, I
enjoy
gotta
it.
check it out.
You know, his email is probably the second or third mention and ask that people have brought up our season recap. So he brought up Daredevil, he brought up Game of Thrones, which I think was definitely some of our best played stuff. So he's not the first one to ask, hey, what's the next show? I think I forget his name, I'm sorry, but someone was asking of us to do the Watchmen stuff. So I definitely think we're overdue maybe a whole season episode play-by-play recap. I just wondering, is there any shows coming out that maybe you guys would be interested in doing something like
Nope.
that? It is a very definitely strenuous a recording, but I wouldn't be down. I would not mind doing another series.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. I'm the only Star Trek guy here. No one's gonna want to do that.
Yo, I'll watch
It
it.
looks
with you.
the trailer
I'll watch
looked
it with
really
you.
good.
Come on. Seems like shit.
Fucking
You
lies.
know that
He's like, gonna break it.
that really
Bring it up
that
here,
Comic Con because that trailer really I was like this looks really good.
It doesn't look Star Trek though.
No, well,
Yeah. See,
No.
okay. See what I'm saying? Like, I want it to be like fucking.
people just talking.
Yes, I want
control.
it to. Oh, I want to get boners over political dialogue.
boring.
Oh yeah, I want to. Dude, somebody say the Prime Directive and actually not help out a primitive race. Oh, my fucking
You're
rocks
just
will get off.
stupid.
If I wanted to watch young people doing exciting things, I'd watch sports.
Right.
All right. Well, then I'll pose this question to our listeners. If there's a show you think coming out that we'd be a good fit to do something like that, let us know what you think, man. We'll take some recommendations and we'll think about it. But if you've got a champion, a comment, a question, or something to share with us, man, shoot us an email at theshortboxjacks@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail, 904-580-4095. They've got to be NPR quality.
What's
As
that?
good
Yeah,
as
you
Eric's.
better bring it.
That was
Yeah,
good.
that's really
That was solid.
well done.
What was that number again?
904-580-4095. So, with that being said, folks, we're going to go on break.
I gotta
I'm gonna play a new song by Mecca the Marvelous, available on Spotify and Apple Music. It's called Levels. We're gonna play the music and come back for boys talk. All right.
Yet, so I don't know
What?
they've changed completely. You know what I'm saying?
Just season one?
Yeah.
Oh, how many seasons are they doing?
They just
Well,
got
season
confirmed
2
for
is
season 2.
They're definitely doing 2. But yeah.
Well, all right.
So the stuff I thought they changed, it ended up them not really changing it. So towards the end
Yeah.
of the series, so or into that first season,
What do you think, dude?
I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You said it because you made a comment in passing where you were like, it's real different, like that. So I was
Oh.
like, oh man, Ed's about to bring some
It's-
serious shit talk.
It's
Yes.
no, it's
Wait. Before you get into that, I want to say spoiler warning.
Oh, yeah.
If you have
oh,
not
yeah, big
watched
time. Guys,
The
yeah.
Boys yet, possible spoilers. We're going to do
for
our
the
best.
comic too.
Yeah. So we'll do our best to avoid any super spoilers, but you never know. So if you've not watched The Boys yet and you plan to, pause this episode, come back to it when you're done, or actually, that's
Also,
it.
Also, to be fair, I've only seen 2 episodes, but I don't
Okay.
give a shit if you spoil anything. so.
Okay.
All right, so we are starting our in-depth boys talk now. All right, so that shit was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna be like, all right, this is how it ends right off the bat. Like, you're like,
Everybody dies! Yay!
No, Ed, I had asked you. Well, actually, let me ask this real quick. Who's read the comic series? I know,
stick 'em
Ed,
me.
I know you have. Thank you, Karis. One. See, have you read the comic series?
have not.
Ashley.
No, it was
Not all of it. Not all of it.
Yeah, it was ending when I first started working at the shop, so it looked interesting, but I never read any of it.
What do you remember from your time working at the shop as that book was coming out? Any crazy stories that you normally have?
I just remember there were only 2 people that had it on their poll, and it was like I would flip through it, and it was just so violent, and I want to read it at some point.
It's one of the few comics or anything really content that was too violent for me to like get into. I was like, this is a little too much. But I've not read the comic series. This is my first introduction to boys. I think I've said it here on the show before. It was the book that Drew and Walt bonded over because they just love Garth Ennis.
Yeah.
So
Ennis.
Yeah, Ennis.
Ennis.
Yes, Ennis. Garth Ennis. Ed, I wanted you to kick us off. I had asked you, do you mind sharing some of the major differences between the comic and the TV series?
Wait, hold on a second. I got to say this. I think I figured it out. I think Botter overcorrects on the ethnic side, so that way he'll never get in trouble with the brown listeners. So I'll be like, yeah,
He's on to me.
which is like,
He's like, yeah, that's it. That's it right there. Yeah,
now I get it.
Oh man,
It's like,
see, you're on. You got it. Yeah, you got it.
no, it's like
purpose.
our
On
next
purpose.
our next comic book spotlight will be with Garth Ennis. Ennis? Is that how you say it? Ennis? Am I saying that right?
Like Borat.
Why do you sound like Borat, dude? That's my question to you.
Touche. You had it.
We covered Cree now.
So Ed,
That joke went over like a fart.
Ed, any major differences between the comic book and the TV series?
A lot of major differences
A whole
so
lot.
far. The ending, that's the biggest
Yeah.
difference of spoiler alert.
Go ahead.
And so when Butcher wakes up and he finds his wife and then the kid's Homelander's kid.
Yeah.
So in the book, Butcher has such a vendetta against Butcher has such a vendetta against Homelanders because he raped his wife, she got pregnant, and the baby actually burst through her, which they do kind of in that when they lie to him about the baby. They kind of flash back to that scene. So the baby bursts out of her stomach, killing her,
Jesus
and the baby
Christ.
has like the laser eyes. And so Butcher basically beats the baby to death with like a
What the
lamp.
hell?
Oh my
Jesus
God.
Christ!
They do a book, like a issue series of Butcher, Baker, Candlestick Maker.
Real quick,
which
Chris
is
is in the back, like, not too bad.
I like this.
Sorry.
Picking up my trades today. So it beats the baby to death with a lamp shade. Because he has like a scar. You can see there's like scars of him getting zapped with little baby laser eyes, which they do in the show,
Really cute.
which is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's cute. I don't know if it's cute, but
They use a fucking baby as a like laser gun.
that's the big
kinda
difference.
cool.
Yeah, that's the big difference. The boys not having taken the compound V as of yet. Because
So wait, this is in the show they do this?
No, he's
The book,
he's
comic.
books.
Oh, okay.
in the show, the ending is like Butcher and Homelander have a confrontation. Butcher wakes up and sees his wife, who's been missing for 8 years, and a little boy who's
Fucking
Homelander's
blonde.
blonde kid, Homelander's kid, and his eyes light up like laser eyes. The laser eyes in this show is awesome. That's how you do laser eyes.
Yeah,
Heat rays. Oh, it's awesome. That's a big change. Yeah, the boys not taking the compound V and having like being able to fight off like the lesser heroes.
What's Compound V?
So Compound V is a big part of this show. Basically, Vought in the show kind of controls all, the superheroes. That's basically like their product, the
Right.
superheroes. So what they say is like, oh, this is, this is like people are born with this, like mutants, where they're born natural powers.
I see.
But they've made this Compound V and they do it with babies, and they basically homegrown their own
GMO
superheroes.
people.
Yeah. So they basically grow their own superheroes, and V is like the main component of this. It's not as big a deal. Well, it's a big deal, but it's not
a plot device.
Yeah, it's not
Got
the
it.
big thing in the books as it is in the show.
Right.
Because in the show, a lot of it's the same. A lot of it's different. Huey's American instead of, what's his name? Simon Pegg.
Right.
But it's cool they put Simon Pegg in as his father character.
Now, do
Yeah,
they ever explain how Elizabeth Shue is still so fucking hot?
Oh, she is.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Is that in this?
Stillwell, too. That character. In the
Yo,
book.
Elizabeth is. I'm sorry. I had to make. I got the IMDb pulled up. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And yes.
Girl from Karate Kid.
Holy shit!
Oh
Yeah. Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah,
Guys,
that's where I knew.
Adventures
Okay.
in Babysitting.
Yes, that I remember. Yeah,
right,
sure.
well.
Character is different.
So, Ed, let me just ask this: do you recommend people who enjoy the show to read the comics to get a different story, or should they just stick with?
I'm rereading it now through different eyes of 10 years plus later.
Sound like old war vet.
Well, James is the one who got me back on this book. He's like, "Oh, you got to check this
That is
out."
no surprise. I'm
And
not
it's like,
surprised.
and the first page is like Butcher stomping someone's head in, like exploding. It's like, okay. And I don't know if that was my mindset or just the climate, but in today's climate, reading this book, it's like you said, it was like, or like you said, it was like, oh, this is too much. And like when Adam, I talk about with Adam, it's like, this is too much. And this is Garth Ennis, his hatred of superheroes through 10 volumes of story, and just those first two, I still like it, but in today's climate this will not fly. Even now, I mean, DC canceled that series originally because it was originally, I think, Wildstorm DC published it. Then it went to Dynamite, just content wise, because it was one of their big sellers at the time.
And it was on Wildstorm, which I mean, it's
just
kind of
DC,
like a little more hands off, like editorial wise.
So they canceled it. They let Derek Robertson continue to work on it, even though he was DC exclusive at the time. So they let him continue to work on it under Dynamite. Reading it now, I'm kind of like 4 books in right now. But reading it now, I can't recommend it, honestly. Like everyone's different. Everyone has different tastes and stuff, but this is like Garth Ennis, no filter.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you need to. It's almost too much at times, because like even you said you were probably turned off by the book. It's like, okay, this is a little bit.
Well, I asked that
gratuitous.
because I don't have any plans on reading the series because I know that I feel like Eric Kripke probably dialed back a lot of the original source material.
Yeah.
And I just have a feeling it will just be too fucking wild.
It's pretty wild.
Like
it's pretty wild.
I was telling C, like, even Blythe was like sitting on the couch every now and then watching me watch Boys, and she was just like, "This is too fucking
weird." To put it this
like,
way,
too wild.
if the show's kind of a bit much for you, don't read the comic. Yeah. So I can't wholeheartedly recommend it. I mean, if you like Garth Ennis and you're familiar with his style of writing, if you read Preacher, if you can see kind of how out there he gets, how violent, how just it doesn't age well, I still enjoy it, but I can't wholeheartedly recommend it because it could offend a lot of people, honestly.
But do you give it a thumbs up as far as the adaptation?
Yeah, I think overall, a lot of the changes so far, and like I said, we're only season 1 in, so a lot of the changes make sense. Like a dynamic with a group of people who have no powers against the Justice League is a more interesting dynamic. Annie's character being a bit more, she's not as naive. She's more idealistic than naive. In this series, she doesn't put up with as much shit as she does in the comic. She's kind of like she fights back pretty close. They're really condensing the story because in the comic, Butcher and Homelander don't even have a face-to-face, but they have a previous relationship. They know each other. This one is kind of like they don't really know each other. They kind of piece it together. But they don't even have a face-to-face till like the 4th trade. So it's like a slow, like the 7 are like the final bosses, and they're going through like all the other superheroes.
That's cool.
There's like a Tech Knight who's like the Iron Man, Batman type character, which they will never put on TV. There's like Huey infiltrates this kind of like X-Men type group of characters. And then you kind of go through all these like superhero tropes, and then you finally get up to, 7, and that final battle, which is nuts. But they changed the female's origin story to make her part of the
Kimiko.
Yeah, Kimiko. They changed her origin story as she's basically like in the show, which is different than the book too. Like Homelander. They're wanting a defense contract. Is kind of like, which is the same in the comic book. So Homelander is basically using A-Train, the Flash type character, to get all this Compound V all over the world to kind of create their own super-powered enemies. Because why would you want superheroes in the military
when it doesn't call for it.
when it doesn't call for it. So now you have superpowered villains, which they created, and the female is kind of like one of those creations. So they're doing this. Homelander's doing this outside of Vought, the corporation. So that's an interesting twist. Yeah, but like the big thing is that the reveal at the end. That's probably the biggest change.
Okay, fair. Ashley, what are your thoughts on the series? You just wrapped up, like, what? How many days did it take for you to finish?
I watched the whole thing in 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
just
pretty
finished
still
it.
fresh.
Yeah, I finished it last night.
Yeah,
I liked it. So I was interested in reading the comic, and now I'll
let you borrow the first one.
I mean, if I can read it for free, I'll read it.
I'll let you borrow it.
But yeah, I liked it. It's not like I think my favorite scene was like the laser eyes baby, like cutting people in half.
Yeah,
'Cause, like,
of course it was.
The gore and stuff, it's like I know it's fake, so it doesn't really, it's like I can
Well, it's
handle
like
all
comically
that.
gore. I mean, it's over the top gore.
Like I like that kind
It's
of
not
stuff.
like torture stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, it did have some stuff in there that I'm like, God, this is really hard to watch right now.
Like Mesmer and Translucent aren't characters in the book. So there's there's a
that's cool.
Translucent is taking the place of a character called Jack from Jupiter, who's a Martian Manhunter analog.
Okay.
So that's the diamond hard skin thing, like where he can, so basically that they switch him with that. And I read a little blurb saying why isn't Terror, like his bulldog, in it, like Butcher's bulldog, and why Jack from Jupiter. And they said they don't want any like aliens in the series, like alien or like Norse gods type of mythology in this series. They wanted to keep it, like, I guess, as grounded as you can be. And
The showrunner did a Reddit AMA, and that was at some point. I saw him make that point a couple times where he was like, you know what, we took the source material and tried our best to ground it realistically as we could.
Yeah. And yeah, they just said animals are too difficult to deal with. They didn't want to deal with having a dog on set. And they grounded Frenchie a lot too.
Okay.
They made him a lot more grounded character. So
See, I wanted to switch to you because this was, is it safe to say this was a show that you were not originally planning to watch?
Yeah.
Right? You've been kind of vocal about
and to
Garth
be-
Ennis and et cetera.
Well, not just Garth Ennis. Garth Ennis, as far as The Boys is concerned, because I love Preacher.
Okay.
But the fact that the one quote that actually turned me off to the comic was Garth Ennis said, "I'm going to out Preacher."
Yeah.
That's an actual quote.
And I want to apologize on Mike's. I thought that was something that maybe you made up or just misheard.
No, I
but
remember that
no,
quote
you
too.
no,
Yeah.
that
And you
was
guys
an actual quote.
Google that shit.
I
It's
think
real.
it's on one of the trades.
Yeah, of course it is. Like that does everything to not sell it to me. Like I'm like Preacher wasn't Preacher. Yeah, it was graphic and definitely not for kids, of course. But there was a compelling story, and all that stuff, all the gore that was in there, served the story, and not the reverse. And if you're trying to sell me on comic, where you're saying but the reverse, I'm like, well then I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And if the whole point and premise of the comic can be sort of condensed into one sentence, then I'm not interested. So that's why I really didn't give a shit about The Boys.
Yeah.
It's not really any other reason except for the fact that you can pretty much get it with the first episode. And to be fair, I've seen only 2 episodes of the show. No, I'm sorry. I watched 3. Both Sarah and I were watching it, and we're like, don't watch it without me. All right. Did you watch it? No. Yeah, we said we were going to wait. All right. Just checking. So we both watched like 3 episodes, and we were like, okay. And after the 3rd episode, it was just kind of like, so you get it, right? Yeah. Celebrities suck. Athletes suck. Superheroes, commercialism, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Are you like in any real rush to finish this? Not really. Okay. Me neither. And that's pretty much where I'm at. Like, I don't from an outsider perspective, it's not a bad show. It is not I want to say this, it's not a bad show. But for my money, it's the same reason I stopped watching The Walking Dead, because it's the same episode every episode.
It's it's hard for me to separate the source material from the show, just because I liked it so much at the time, and going back revisiting it, I still like it. It's just, oh man, this is way more over the top than I remember, even remember it. So it's interesting to hear from someone who's no familiarity with the characters and see their opinion, because it's like I know the characters, essentially know the characters.
Sure.
Because the characters themselves that are in the show, they're pretty.
Well, how many trades
faithful.
are there?
10.
Yeah, it's just 10 trades worth of your life.
Well, I wanted to ask, what is the one trade that maybe encompasses this whole first season the best?
Wait, no, hold on.
Yeah.
How many trades do they touch on in this first season?
This one's probably. It's hard to say because it's like you're taking maybe the first 4-ish trades.
Okay.
But
They take stuff.
condensing it a lot, eliminating a lot of.
Right.
I mean, it's eliminating a lot of characters. If you're just basically, okay, I'm taking the 4 trades, and it's just the 7 and the boys, that's kind of where you're at
Yeah.
in this story.
Carl Urban is probably the best thing about the show, I think.
That dude is
Like I said, he's just from a casting standpoint, he is really good. Butcher.
Is he spot on?
Yeah, he's pretty spot on. I think just him and Huey have kind of a different dynamic in the comic than in the show so far. Like I said, it's first season. Like he's really in the comic, he has more of a soft spot for Huey because it's like a little brother type of relationship.
Yeah.
And he feels bad, and that's why he drafts him, because when his girlfriend gets killed and he signs all these NDAs and stuff, he didn't ask for any money, so that's how it went on Butcher's radar, and that's why he recruited him. It's like all these, everyone this happens to, they always ask for money to keep their mouth shut. You didn't ask for a dime. So
there's a lot of cool concepts that I like. Go ahead.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
I think what maybe would keep me watching it is if they simplified everything. And I think
they do, I promise.
No. What I mean is they tell only one story as opposed to 5 stories at the same time. Okay. And I get it. That seems to be the way prestige television is making their money right now. But the simpler a story is, the easier it is to tell, and the better it is because there's less room for mistake.
Yeah.
So the only reason I was invested was not just Carl Urban, but I guess the Huey character. Like I was like, holy shit! Like when A-Train just like.
Yeah.
And I already knew that was going to happen because Ed had mentioned something.
Yeah.
I was just waiting.
Yeah.
But the way they did it, it was like, oh my God. And then when the lawyer shows up and he's just like, this is a typical NDA.
Yeah.
Here's here's $45,000 for you to just basically take care of what you need to take care of. Like, that is interesting because that's human and that's conflict. And, set in that world, where basically if Kim Kardashian had powers, like that's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
But I don't give a shit about the idea. I give a shit about how does this guy deal with his life after his girlfriend has just been destroyed by a hapless moron.
Traumatically.
Exactly. Like someone that he loved, somebody he spend the rest of his life with, And I think they resolved that too quickly.
Yeah.
It's too quick for me.
They are really burning through this story.
Yeah, so I'm like, that... I don't give a shit about the Game of Thronesy aspects of it. Fuck, I don't care about the world. I care about the people. So, because when it comes to the world, you can sum it up in a sentence, and it's one of the main reasons where I'm just like, I don't give a shit about this. Like, do a season where it's just Huey. Do a season where it's Butcher. Do a season where it's Frenchie. That makes so much more sense. Whatever.
Yeah, and like I said, in the comic, too, it's like it's a slow build.
Yeah.
It's like, you kind of, Huey is like through our eyes, like a regular person's eyes. Not through these like highly trained military guys and the boys, killers, and superheroes. So he's trying to find the truth through this whole adventure, going through all these different superheroes. Because in the book too, the boys are a branch of, are kind of like a ghost ops of the CIA. Yeah. So they're basically, what they do is kind of keep tabs, blackmail. They do a lot of this bugging and surveillance and stuff on all these other like C-list superheroes, because them and the Seven already have a kind of like a truce, but you don't find out about that till 4, 5, 6 trades in.
I mean, this is essentially the same story as Preacher. I mean, you have Cabal over here and tight-knit group of weirdos over here, and one guy who's a badass, aka Saint of all killers, who's doing his own thing, and then you have the guy through which you view the lens of, kind of going, and his friends, right? Except that's good
Yeah.
and did not need to rely on crazy, over the top gore and violence and extreme everything.
Yeah.
The way it sounds, and even you're looking at it like, whoo, like I spent like 10 years of my life with this, and it's like, like I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like Garth Ennis concentrated on the wrong thing.
It's funny because there's a lot of high points in this series. And unfortunately, first trade's really good. Second trade's kind of
the sophomore
Jesus
slump.
Christ. And then goes when he goes to Russia, and then that's a really cool like coup story with superheroes. It's like really awesome. Like, and then when he gets into his history of Vought being making weapons for the military since World War II, and all their failures making weapons, and now they're in this superhero business, creating this whole new type of weapon. And Garth Ennis, he's a big war buff, history buff. So when he gets into those parts, those really shine. I'm just having to revisit it. I'm just kind of going through a lot, but
it does sound interesting.
But it's like I said, you kind of have to. It's chewing glass to get to those points at times.
Yeah.
And there's good stuff in there, but it's wrapped in barbed wire. So it's hard to, on the surface, getting through it. And if you don't like this palette he's using, it's tough. It's tough to get through. So I can't. That's why I said I can't recommend it to everybody.
Ed, you brought up high points, and I wanted to ask the table, what are some of the high points or memorable moments or scenes from the series that maybe you guys want to highlight? Ashley, was there a particular scene or moment that kind of stuck out to you?
Oh, definitely the laser baby.
Laser baby's awesome.
Yeah,
That was the best scene in the whole show.
There's some funny, because like I said, you've only watched 2, but it's like there's some really
visuals are
fun.
There's some interesting visuals.
The Deep trying to rescue the dolphin.
Oh god, that was
that's pretty wild.
good.
That dude is so like fucking. He's charming, but such a fuck up.
He's
like,
such a douche.
Yeah,
Chase
he was
Crawford.
And that's another thing too. Like I'm just remembering this stuff. Like in that initial interaction with Annie,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
which is brutal. And that's basically like the first issue, but except this is toned down. And it's not the Deep, because the Deep they changed a lot too. The Deep is like a black guy in like an old diver's outfit, and he's like kind of like second in charge underneath Homelander, and he's pretty serious. He doesn't do all this nonsense like the other characters. But they've kind of A-Train in the comic was such a douchebag, they kind of made him into 2 characters in the movie. They kind of split it between the Deep and A-Train in the movie. Because Homelander's the one that forces himself on Annie in the comic, and then she runs to Black Noir and A-Train, and it's like everybody is like, oh god, I'm glad they changed that. That's rough.
I think my favorite episode, I think it might have been like number 6 or 5, one of those, but it was essentially like the flashback episode where everyone's story is a little more fleshed out.
Yeah,
because I feel like Carl Urban delivered like
he's great. Yeah.
That one episode, I think he like pulled every. I don't know. It just his acting in that was fucking really.
What's up
really
with
good.
the freaking tan?
What's
up with the spray tan, Carl Urban?
Oh, I know,
has?
right?
Does he sound like John Oliver to anyone in like the beginning episodes? I'm like, with his voice is a little weird, but I thought that episode was fantastic. That every single even to see like the Seven's origins like revealed, and it's all like fabricated, and to me this
like
whole
when Homelander's going to his childhood house,
which for me this whole show was just like 8 episodes worth of driving home that old adage, never meet your heroes, or be careful who you worship. To me, so I can kind of get behind C's point where it's like I get it, like I get it, but I was down for the whole ride. Because there was a lot of really cool visual elements.
Because I had nothing better to do with my time.
I don't know. It really got me hooked. It's just that by the time I was done, I felt really drained. And I almost felt drained in the same way that Endgame had. Not just because it was a long-ass commitment, but... And there was clear delineation. But with Endgame, it was drained and like, wow, this was, 8-10 years. And watching like these heroes that I've invested in like just kind of fade away. But with the boys, it was like, damn, man, like there was just no high points as far as like just like a feel good story. And I know that's not Garth's shtick at all, but just I wish it just had something to kind of.
It is in Preacher. It absolutely is in
then
Preacher.
I take it back with the boys at least
Yeah.
my understanding of the boys. There was just nothing to like kind of feel good about. It was just so fucking heavy all the time, man.
It's I don't know. I'm gonna have to disagree, and I've only seen 2 episodes where Huey blows up Translucents. That's fucking. I cheered
Oh my god, that was
because again, it's human. Like
You don't have
more
the
of
guts.
more of that shit. Where like it's not foreshadowed, but it's mirrored. Where like he looks and the picture of the baby it says "Keep your hands clean."
Yeah.
With the spaghetti on his head, he's like like that, and Huey freaking just blows him
And that's
up.
the thing too, like you
Like-
saying, like he changes like quick. Like he like I said, he evolves that quick. It's not like a slow.
That was my only
change.
thing. It was
Well,
like
it's
kind of
they don't have to. The change happening is fine, so long as he still has an arc. Like I feel like none of these characters had an arc. They stayed who they were the whole time, right? Like Butcher doesn't change in any significant
he
way
doesn't
that
change
forces him.
ever.
That's what I'm saying, right? Okay. Huey changed like within 3 episodes and kind of.
See.
I think the flashback episode is how they kind of like retroactively gave you an
They
arc.
would
Kind of
have
see
to.
like Homelander kind of unravel a bit more. He's a lot. I think this Homelander is better than the comic so far.
Anthony Starr killed
He
it.
is
He
great.
is.
What else has he been in?
Here, I'll look it up.
He's he's creepy.
Yeah, and the costume is pretty much spot on from Homelander in the comics.
You know, all of their costumes are a high point. For
Pretty
me.
much.
like they look
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, they look good. The casting is really
That
good.
Amazon money, baby.
Well, I was
I
going to
know,
say,
right?
I like the. Well, I'm a little upset that this show pushed the Tick off the air.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the
Tick
Tick
was
is no
awesome.
longer. Yeah, I'd much for my money, I'd rather have the Tick than this show. But whatever.
So real quick, I just want to answer C's question. Anthony Starr, who played Homelander, was also known for Outrageous Fortune, Wish You Were Here, Without a Paddle, and The World's Fastest Indian. So, not sure.
All right,
Classics.
Well, yep.
Classics.
Good. Well, hey, buddy. Good for you.
Yo,
You're
hey,
getting
come
that,
on.
How about that?
Started from the
You're
bottom.
Great. You're great as Homelander.
Yep.
Ed, we didn't get to you, man. What was the standout moment or for you?
I really, because I'm always going back and forth, just because I know the source material. That hijacking,
Dude, that was
Yeah.
so uncomfortable.
they do that in the comic, but in the comic it is 9/11.
Okay.
Them screwing up that attack, because basically in the comic history, one of the planes gets shot down by the Air Force, and then they're told to hold back and let the 7 come through, and they fuck it up just like this. Except it's
Damn Garth Ennis, man.
but it's-
Nothing is sacred with this dude.
so yeah, it's like ooh, that's a bit rough, but. It's kind of the same thing where Homelander just rips the door out. Like in the comic, because this just happened. So there's a kid's like, "Hey, mom, Homelander's here." He rips the door out. The kid flies out, and everybody's going crazy.
really wrong.
And it's like, and everyone's like panicking, and Homelander like screams, and everybody's eardrums burst.
Jesus Christ.
And then he's going in, and like the Deep is up at the front of the plane, and he smashes the window in the front. So now you have the jet stream, and all this stuff is happening. Homelander kills the hijackers, and he's just covered in blood. And he comes out, and all the people are screaming still. Like, oh my! He's such fully blood red. And that's kind of in the series too, where the Queen Maeve character just kind of like breaks and becomes just despondent. Like
Yeah.
in this series, she's a lot more, I guess, human. In the comics, she's just kind of over it. She just sits there drinking, not giving a shit because of that traumatic event. And it's like, and it's exactly the same way as where Homelander's like, we got to go.
Yeah.
And she's like, we got to save some people. It's like, they're going to tell, what, we're not going to save them.
There are some really good acting like combinations in this, and it kind of reminds me of like how kind of watching like Game of Thrones. Like you'd be like, oh, I really like watching Cersei, etc. Blah blah blah. But I feel like the acting was pretty hit for a majority of the cast. I mean, like Jack Quaid playing Huey,
He's
Carl
really
Urban,
good.
Anthony Starr. Even like old girl Annie, I thought was really cool too. A-Train, I thought was phenomenal.
he's funny.
Did you have a favorite character, Ashley?
I don't know. I really liked Frenchie, and I really liked,
Frenchie is
yeah.
so fucking lovable. Like, I want him to just cook for me. Let me get there. Let me ask you guys about the timing, and then we'll jump to champion season, because I feel like the timing probably had a big impact on the success. And you guys tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I had a few folks that messaged us saying, "Hey, this was such a good difference from what we were seeing in Marvel. Hey, this is like the opposite of like superhero worship, et cetera, et cetera." And I wonder if this show, if it had came out before like your Endgame or your Spider-Mans, if it would have succeeded. I mean, we are kind of in a superhero drought.
Yeah.
What?
As far as like
The fuck we are?
as far as big screen movies.
No. No, we're not
Yes.
in a superhero drought. What? Because a Marvel movie doesn't come out in 3 months?
DC too. I'm talking about superhero movies.
Fuck
period.
no.
Superhero movies.
No.
Period.
Every
a
month.
drought would be like what we were with fucking Batman 1989 and fucking X-Men in 97. That's a fucking drought,
Look,
okay?
When a
Jesus
new
Christ,
when
brother.
7 movies when 7 Marvel movies were coming out a fucking year, and now we're waiting until 2020.
That's not a
Whatever, for me,
drought,
I think
buddy.
it's a drought.
It's been a month since Homecoming, right?
Jesus Christ.
All right.
A month.
Fuck.
Yeah,
God.
You
Thank
gotta
you, Ashley. Thank you,
Okay,
Ashley.
how about this pre-Endgame?
Jesus.
I think pre-Endgame. I
You have
don't
a
know
big
if it
red
succeeded
M
it.
dick in your mouth, buddy.
A baby. You're just mad because DC don't got a dick no more.
I don't care. It's in your mouth too. You got the app, motherfucker. I don't.
Damn it.
I was gonna say
Thoughts on the timing?
no. The
I
timing.
should have said pre-Endgame.
I was going to say
Go ahead.
no. I was going to say the timing. I think is.
Makes
I think
sense.
it might be irrelevant because the story isn't really about superheroes in general. I didn't get a vibe that
I
it was
didn't, but I feel like
superhero,
most
like
are.
oh fuck superheroes right now. Like oh yeah, I like this show because it lets me hate on comics, but I secretly like them. But I'll tell my friends I hate on them. But this is not really a commentary on that. It's a commentary on celebrity.
Yeah.
I mean the show,
Celebrity
not the-
and like corporate culture.
Right.
and-
Not
yeah.
not the comic. The comic, it seems like it's a different thing.
Yeah.
This is more or less like, like I said, Kim Kardashian's a piece of shit. What if she had powers? What if fucking I don't know. What if you thought Tim Tebow? What if Tim Tebow was out there murdering people?
Oh my God, is Homelander Tim Tebow?
And you didn't know.
I could
And
see
you
that.
didn't know. And I'm saying no, he's not. Tim Tebow's a decent person.
On public,
Kind of looks
yes.
like
Well, that's what I'm
Homelander.
saying. Like
public.
You say in public.
I'm just. We don't know. We don't know.
I'm just saying.
Actually, we need to consider our demographic. We are in fucking Florida.
You guys are fucking saying
my
shit.
bad,
I'm
my bad.
not. I'm just saying, like, I don't think it would matter. Like, the story is interesting enough. I think it's cool enough where people are like, they get it. Like, oh, okay,
Well,
yeah.
I think the success of
They would only help it.
the superhero movies,
Yeah.
green lights projects like this and
Sure.
the Tick and
Sure.
properties that don't have mainstream,
Right.
appeal or not appeal, but
Well, there's no risk.
Yeah,
There's no
exactly.
risks. They'll only get returns because shows
Yeah.
like this make people think of the Marvel or
Yeah,
DC
so
movies.
this show kind of mirrors Preacher, where the characters are there and there's kind of the same changes, but I guess the essence of the characters are pretty faithful for the most part. So there's like the Preacher series in this is both like, and Seth Rogen does that funny, I get to make a movie in the VCU universe with Black Noir. Do you remember that?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm so excited to make a movie in the VCU universe with Black Noir.
Seth Rogen is like, I can get behind Seth Rogen helping greenlight
Yeah,
a lot
so
of these
it's-
projects because I mean he was involved with Preacher too, right?
Yeah, his production.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen without him.
Yeah, so I mean that kind of leads the way to some stories we most likely wouldn't see otherwise. But yeah, it's if fans of the book, I think, because like I said, I try to separate the source material from because it's a different media. It's not going to be the same. But I think they kept enough of the essence. They've made so many references to the comic book regarding like they do the Tech Knight reference, G-Men. They even reference the Flatiron, which is their HQ in the comic.
When's I'm sorry. Do you know when the next season is coming out?
I think next year, middle of next year.
Well, they're saying it got approved for a second season before
They
season
did?
1 aired.
Yeah, they did kind of like a
is
mini
already,
trailer.
I think filming is already somewhat started. Yeah. It
Ed,
could be
what-
as early as 2020.
Ed, what are you going to do about the boys' drought that you're going to suffer through?
No, it's a drought. I'll figure something
Will you be
out.
okay for
I'll figure something out.
for 9 months? Will you be fine?
Thirsty. I'll be thirsty.
Okay.
All time.
Okay.
I'll find a way. I'll survive. What about Haley Joe Osment just playing himself
What?
all the time? He's like a...
Is he in
His
it?
little
he's-
tiny face.
He's a character. Oh, that weird little face.
Wait,
Wait, what character does he play?
Mesmer.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mesmer. Yeah.
He's basically a new character, and
He was sad.
he's a child star, but he can basically touch you and kind of read your mind. That's his power, but he's not strong or anything.
He's like the Dead Zone.
Yeah. So he's basically doing comic conventions and stuff like that.
yeah.
It's pretty
That's
funny.
awesome.
There's like a little kid with long hair. It's like he's like in a detective show.
He's fucking Corey Feldman.
Yeah, he's
dude,
like-
basically.
Yes.
So
they
it's-
cover, as far as like commentary on celebrity worship,
Yeah.
they kind of got it all covered.
There you go.
A-Train's arc, as far as like that whole like insight into celebrities and
You're gonna
like,
teach me how to outrun cancer?
that was
a
all the
cool
sad,
line.
all the sad faces.
so funny.
Oh, that made me so
It's like
uncomfortable.
you're gonna teach me.
But, like,
man. I wanted
A-Train-
Homelander.
They cover they cover athletes, they cover your movie
Yeah.
stars, they cover the child stars. Like it covers a lot. I wanted to ask before we move on to champion season, if you had a chance to select a creator-owned property to get the kind of big screen or even little screen adaptation, what's one that kind of comes to mind? I'll lead off, I guess. A recent book, Extremity, that came out from Image.
Okay.
I think would be fantastic. It's kind of combining Gundam, Akira, and a few others. But and then another one that comes to mind is another Image comic, Birthright. You guys remember Birthright?
Oh,
It's about
yeah.
the kid who disappears for years, comes
Yeah.
back. He's kind of like a Conan
It's a big
archetype.
twist, yeah.
But like they kind of go into the world of the fantasy world that he was lost in, and like the different shit he was dealing
that's a
with.
good
and et cetera.
series.
Yeah, really good. I think it would translate well, especially seeing like how well they executed like the special effects, the costumes here.
Yeah, and then like there's like the Lord of the Rings series.
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
out. So I mean, you could do the
think it'd
fantasy
fit in.
stuff. Yeah.
What about you, Ashley?
Southern Bastards.
God damn it! How'd
I would love to see
Starring
that.
Tim Tebow. Starring Tim fucking Tebow.
Tim, if you're listening, these assholes don't know you like I do.
Oh, your boys. Oh, my bad.
They don't know you like I do, buddy. Represent
You own a
Jacksonville.
you own a PDQ
Represent
together.
Jacksonville.
Yo,
Yes.
that Tim Tebow dick is holy. All right.
Yes.
C, do you got one?
I would say Eric Powell's the Goon.
Goon.
Yeah,
Damn,
that's a good one.
And I would
great
get the
one.
people
Really
who
fucking
were
good.
behind Carnival to do it.
You want live action?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Live action.
Oh, fuck. No, a cartoon.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, a cartoon. Yeah, damn. Good call.
What about you, Ed?
Oh my God, there's so many things I would like to see as a series. I think would be campy fun. I wouldn't mind seeing like a hack slash series. They've been
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
they've been talking about a movie for years. I don't think that's ever gonna
An Adult Swim late
happen.
night version.
Oh, maybe.
You know what's
Yeah.
funny about that?
Like goth chick. So
I would watch that show because that comic knows what it is.
yeah.
And it doesn't try to tell
No.
you anything else. And like
absolutely.
you can pretty much pick up any trade you want.
Yeah, you do
And just
not-
jump on board.
There is a
no
but you don't need it.
pretension.
You don't
No
need it.
pretension whatsoever.
It's like, oh, Chucky's in this, sweet.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, Dr.
Yes.
Herbert from Reanimator.
yeah,
Okay, that's cool.
Fucking Ash from Evil
yeah,
Dead
Ash
is
from
in
Evil
here.
Dead.
Yeah,
This is awesome.
Why not?
It's a tribute to
Why
80s
not?
horror
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, it's great. It's very tongue in cheek, and they know they're winking at you the whole time. So
All right, good
and
pick.
East of West would be awesome.
Oh
Oh man,
It's a Hickman
it's so
joint.
expensive.
Yeah, that would
so
be
expensive.
$1 billion.
and fucking confusing. God.
Hickman is probably like on a beach in the Bahamas
I know.
somewhere, like sucking the straw of the coconut, like meow, meow, meow. I've got Marvel money, and Image lets me keep 100%.
Damn, living it up. Good picks. I want to go ahead and offer this for our folks, man. If you've got comment to share or a review or something you want to talk about, boys with us, man, shoot us an email, theshortboxjacks@gmail.com. We're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode, but not before we do champion season. For those of you tuning in for the first time, Champion Season is our segment of the show where we go around the table and highlight a few things within pop culture that we feel, hey, this is really dope and you should check it out. Ashley, how about you do us the honors? What are you going to champion today?
So I'm going to champion Ascender, which is what happened after Descender ended. It's the Jeff Lemire book. Still
Dustin Wynn is still doing it?
still doing
Nice.
all the art for it,
What
the
else has he got to do?
watercolors.
Yo, that's a good question.
Lil Gotham's coming back.
Yeah, like
I'm
covers
telling
for
you.
DC.
Lil Gotham.
So it's on issue 4, and I just caught up on the first 3. And it's so Descender was all about like robots and technology and stuff, and this thing has like dragons and magic. I like it. It's really
like Thundar,
good.
the Barbarian.
Ooh, Descender
Magic
was.
takes over.
Ukla the Mock.
I think Descender
1999.
won a few awards. Like that was always
Yeah.
a series that was like highly like.
It's really good.
It was
revered.
beautiful,
Yeah,
and it
beautiful.
was Jeff Lemire's an amazing writer.
Is he not drawing it though, right?
No. If I saw a
that
cover that he did, I wouldn't buy that issue.
Damn.
Yes, I heard about this. I heard about your someone told me yeah, it's like Ashley talking about Jeff Lemire's art. I said, "What? I don't know about this." And
Hates it.
Yeah,
Hate it.
Not a fan.
I freaking hate it.
I don't mind it.
Her voice
There.
becomes like Luke Cage's when you talk about Jeff Lemire's art. What you say, motherfucker?
There are artists out there that need work, and he's stealing it from them.
Let me feed on this darkness, hatred.
So Ascender's a good follow up.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Yeah,
That's good.
If she was like, "Oh, it's fucking artist,"
As long as Lemire doesn't draw it, it's great.
yeah, exactly.
That switch. Cool.
And then I went and saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
oh, fuck, I need to watch it still.
I'm not spoiling anything. All I'm saying is I'm championing. Championing the last 15 minutes of it.
Why is that? Why have I seen so many people
everybody-
mention that?
Of a 3-hour movie?
I would assume.
Jeez.
There is so much character building, and
I was
if
gonna
you
say,
love character building,
It's a really
you'll
slow Tarantino
love
burn.
It.
I would
but honest
assume-
to God, like I was watching this, it felt like a Seinfeld episode where I'm like, why? What is the point of all
Movie
of it?
about nothing?
Movie about nothing. Last 15 minutes was amazing.
I don't know if I'm gonna go watch this in theaters now.
Do the
What?
$5 Tuesdays.
You better
Okay, then I'll
fucking
do
watch
that.
it.
For
What the hell?
$5.
15
Yeah.
minutes? Like I gotta wait till the
It
last
was-
15.
That's her opinion. Form your own.
But yeah,
When have you been let down by a Tarantino movie? Is my question. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
So yeah, that is just my opinion. If it was ever on TV, I would watch the end of it.
Sure.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay.
Good ones. All right. See, what about you?
It's going to be a band called Tupperware Remix Party.
Whoa.
I recommend them. I saw them in Georgia last weekend. They are amazing, and the Proto Men are amazing as well.
Oh, yeah, they're awesome.
They were touring with the Proto Men.
Oh, cool.
They were freaking amazing.
Did he do any Queen stuff or no?
No, but Twerp, as they go by, they did a Journey cover of Any Way You Want It, which is
Nice.
incredible. But they do like funk,
Okay.
and they have like characters. Like the drummer is a robot, the bassist is a cat person lion with like a blue bandana, like the band Loverboy, and his name is Commander Meouch. The drummer's name is Hav Hogan. The lead singer is Dr. Soong. And the guitarist is Dr. Phobos, Captain Phobos.
Is this a Futurama band?
Dude, they're
Zoidberg on drums.
yes, they do like electronic funk, and the bassist is fucking amazing. Like he slapped the bass, like
Slap the bass.
I'm telling you, man, it's so good. And the lead singer uses a talk box, so it sounds like Zapp and Roger.
Get
Dude,
outta
I'm
here.
not fucking kidding
I'll
with
fuck
you,
with that.
man. I'm fucking this band is dude. Like they're like yeah, dude, like, but it's like like it was one of the coolest things ever. The live show is amazing. Commander Meouch, that's the name of the cat.
Commander
bassist.
Meouch.
But like, if you want to look at their music video, it's called Starlight Brigade, and it's like an anime. And I want to
cool.
say it looks almost like Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animation style. But they're all there, and it's like if Daft Punk jizzed out a funk band.
Oh.
Like it's more funk than anything else, like instrument driven. It's amazing. They put on, they made me a believer. I bought their CD.
I always give bands that I see live that convince me to go check them out. Like that's a hard
Dude,
thing to do.
They sound
Live?
clean, man.
Yeah.
Clean.
That's
like
cool.
I've never. That's what first got me is like as soon as I heard that bassist freaking start playing with a damn mask on, it's
Yeah,
sweaty.
that's
He's got
hard.
like, he looks like a cat person. But he's like, and I'm like, what the fuck is this
get
guy
the-
doing right now?
the timestamp
Should
for
loop that,
one.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Tupperware remix party. Telling
Be our
you.
new intro
Yeah.
before the.
Yeah, they are amazing.
David, sample this for me real quick.
Yeah,
Some
So-
hi hats and 808s on this, please.
dude, it's so good,
That's good. Thank you, Steve.
and they're funny too.
all right, Ed. What do you got to champion?
I'm going to champion just a podcast I recently came across called Bizarre Albums. Tony Thaxton. There's only a couple episodes, but they are two 15-minute episodes. One is on the Simpsons Sing the Blues album. Remember that? And then and then an old WWF wrestling album. So they're really short, 15 minutes, but they have clips of interviews and cool little historical tidbits. So it's a good short commute listen. Respects your time, as Ashley would say. So it's like only 2 episodes in, but like I said, I just found that out maybe a couple days ago. So that's
There's
been really
so
cool.
many weird albums like that they could use too. Damn. That's cool.
And I don't think I championed this last time, but the Black Hammer Justice League crossover first issue, that's really cool so far. This is, like,
Yeah,
really
I read
awesome.
that too.
Is Jeff Lemire doing that art? I know he's writing it.
He's writing it.
I read it. So
I thought Ashley was
Ashley
to
said
shut
she
up.
read
I thought she was
Ashley's
gonna
like,
say,
I
"Shut up."
said I read it, guys.
And like at the beginning where they're working on, it's like they switch roles where the guy's working on like the machine, and then it's Batman at the end. So it's kind of like they repeat the beginning scene with the Black Hammer crew with the Justice League crew at the end. So they kind of mirror the beginning and the end. So it's kind of like a switch reality story at first, but it's really well done so far.
Also, Jeff Lemire and Garth Ennis, I will fucking suck your dicks. Come on the show, please. Come on the show, please.
Yes, come on, tell your body. See, yes, do it for the short box.
Oh, shoulder. Shoulder.
Oh my God.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and champion. My first one is a podcast as well. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend.
That's fantastic.
Did you champion it once?
No.
Okay,
It's fantastic.
I think the boys from Comics.
You know what's
podcast.
funny? It's gotten to the point where so many people suggest things to you that you don't remember when they
Yeah.
do, and they're like, "Hey, have you done?" It's like, motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't even recommend shit to you no more. Remember, but Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend is just one-on-one interviews between Conan O'Brien and then a guest. He's got of course it's Conan O'Brien, so he's got like A list, A plus listers. But the one I'm going to champion specifically is his Howard Stern interview. Mm-hmm. It was roughly about an hour. Mm-hmm. I think all his episodes are about an hour and a half at the most. They feel pretty quick, but it was a phenomenal interview, and it was so cool to hear Howard Stern like he always does, just kept it real. But he talks a lot about his book, but more so about like different interviews that he's had that's just made him feel like I don't know, like warm and gushy, like feeling like he is contributing to society and developing his art outside of like what people kind of look at Howard Stern, So he talks about like a Jon Stewart interview and relating to him as as a Jew and whatnot, and it's just good, man. It was really fun, and just real captivating interview. Have you heard it?
I've heard that one, but I really like his rapport with his assistant and the producer.
Yeah, they're really funny together.
Conan is very funny, and especially in this environment, and he's messing with them. And even like his ad reads are hilarious because he can pretty much do whatever.
It's Conan O'Brien.
I need to
very
highlight,
funny guy.
I need to highlight. Actually, this is what they talk a lot about: pressure and not being happy with their work.
Yeah.
Like they have a very honest and open conversation. Like, I just don't listen back to any of my work. I don't really read praises or reviews because I get so spun up on just that one sentence that would be like, this was something to be I'd want to see more of, or they could improve in this way. And they were talking about how that just is so detrimental to them, and it was kind of cool to hear like these two like just giant all stars
the insecurities.
talk about that insecurity and bonding over it.
Two
like,
tall
man,
guys too.
Yeah.
like, oh damn, you feel that way too, and like genuinely it felt like they didn't know that about each other, and just like hear it kind of
Damn, you
unfold.
sell me on this shit.
It was
man.
good, man.
There's one with Bill Burr that's very funny.
Oh,
what?
of course it is.
Yeah, that's one of the first episodes.
Like
Very funny.
it was enough for me to go ahead and buy Howard Stern's book.
Yeah.
Howard Comes Again. So,
Have you seen Private Parts?
no,
That movie's hilarious,
Kind of
dude.
wanted to like kind of dive into a whole bunch of Howard Stern stuff. He talks about the 9/11. I guess his broadcast during 9/11,
Oh, yeah,
and
yep.
That kind of shifted the way that he pursued interviews and like what he wanted to do. So I recommend it. And then the other thing I'll champion is a comic strip. It's by Nathan W. Pyle.
Oh, God. Yeah. You and everyone else, buddy.
Planet.
That's
Little
funny.
It's wholesome. Yeah,
aliens.
it's wholesome, man. It's wholesome. I like it. He's got a book coming out, and I guess he did another book called New York City Basic Tips and Etiquettes, and it's all like kind of in a comic format. So I recommend Strange Planet. It's on I think his Instagram page is nothing but that comic series. It's just good stuff. So those are my champions. We'll go ahead and wrap up the show. Does anyone have any shout outs or anything you guys want to plug? See, you got anything?
Yo, shout out to Jeff Lemire and Tim Tebow. Yeah, what up? Hey, Garth Ennis, I got that slow neck. Why don't you come on over? Come here.
Oh my god.
Oh shit, Ashley, what about you?
Yeah, come here.
Do you have anything?
I'm going to be at Tinseltown Tuesday night to watch Hobbs and Shaw. And I'll be
Wait, are you inviting everyone? Do you want me to edit this out?
That's where I will be.
Fighting weirdos.
Yes.
you haven't.
Wednesday, I'll be
Oh
at the
my
comic
God.
shop.
Yes.
That's all I'm doing this week.
Yes, shout out to Ashley who's promoting Hobbs and Shaw. She had nothing to do with it. She's like, guys, I need you to know, I'm about to watch the fuck out of this movie.
Oh my god.
I'm
So
not going to edit that
excited.
out. So whoever the hell joins you,
Tuesday night at Tinseltown. They don't know what time I'll be there, but I'll
Tom,
be there.
Shit.
Yo,
There's gonna be
Tom
some
Pandich.
creeper.
Tom Pandich is going to
Waiting.
be there.
Just sit in that same theater the whole night.
He's not. He's gonna be like, yo, I won't let you go down in misery by yourself.
Ashley, you're a brave woman. Ed, you got anything to plug your champion?
Nope.
All right, word. I will go ahead and make some announcements real quick. GAM is happening in about 2 weeks, August 17th.
Oh,
Ashley,
yeah.
Ed, you guys have artwork.
Yes.
What is it for the charity auction?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, word. I know I've seen Ashley's work. Looks fucking great.
It's in my trunk
Thanks.
right
It
now.
is in Ed's trunk right now.
Yeah.
Okay, word. So come check us out there.
What does
I know
that
the street.
mean?
What?
That's euphemism.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Got
the
it.
trunk. Got it.
Totally.
So check out GAM, Space GAM. That's taking place August
stuff.
17th. Tickets are still available. You could use our discount code GAM Shortbox to save 10%. I think for sure we'll be there. I think Straight Chillin' Boys will be there.
They sure will.
So all your favorite nerd outlets, and Jax will be there representing. I also want to say next week we're doing a general release of our Bart of Darkness episode. So we interviewed Warren Evans, one of the most prolific fucking Simpsons
Yeah, it's crazy.
Collectors.
collectors.
Same.
Yeah.
Do you? Will you guys both have tables there at GAM?
No.
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Free
I didn't know.
Roman.
Ooh,
Free
Free
Roman.
spirit.
Nice.
Like
Nice.
it.
You too, Ed?
Free balling.
You normally have a table.
No, I won't be.
Not this time. Nice. All right, word. What was I saying? Oh, Bard of Darkness episode next week. And check out our Patreon, man. I mean, that Bard of Darkness has been up on our Patreon for like the past 2 weeks. Like I said, we got
Yeah,
about...
he's been even really promoting the Patreon exclusive too. So he's been
But that's
really.
because he's on that episode.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's not altruistic. It's like...
yeah, he's.
Nah.
But he's. I think we've gotten a lot of views.
Oh, for
because,
sure, for
because
sure,
he has
for
so
sure.
many followers. So
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, we've got about 20 bonus episodes that Bard of Darkness just happened to be up there for the past 2 weeks. So check out our Patreon, man. Not only bonus episodes, we got merch and other perks that, as a thanks for your contribution support.
Look, let's just be real here. We don't have much to give, but what we do have,
I got
we
slow
will.
neck to give. Come on,
Yo,
baby.
Wow, that's got to be a violation of terms in Patreon.
No, actually, Patreon is very
Yo,
giving.
Patreon is very, very all about human trafficking. Barter's like, yo, take off them pants for the short
man.
box, boy. I'm like, yes, sir.
Oh,
Man, I was
it's
gonna do
18
something,
plus.
dude. I was gonna do something like heartfelt, and, like, plug the show.
You just asked Tim Tebow. What of all people?
Barter, you're a piece of shit.
Wow.
Sinner.
No, good.
Well, now I'm gonna do it. Really? Now I got to plug the show. Yeah, go fuck yourself. No, but seriously, guys, I was just going to say that if no, all kidding aside, all
Short
kidding
box
aside,
after dark.
when it comes to the Patreon, this is like, hey man, we're still a little grassroots movement, but we want to do everything we can to make sure that if you do subscribe, no matter what tier, you're gonna get cool shit. So. With that in mind, whatever level you subscribe to, we are 100% appreciative of it. And we're doing our best to constantly think, like, you know what? If we were subscribers to something, like, what would we want? Like, what would be some cool stuff that we could rock, where that we could hang it in our house, wear it on a T-shirt or something like that? It's always going through our minds. So thanks, and keep up the good work.
Well said. With that being said, folks, that wraps up this episode. We'll catch you guys in about a week. Like I said, that Bard of Darkness interview coming to you guys soon.
Yo, what happened to peace? Peace.